Ja, hallo liebe Leute. Heute geht's mal um Diablo. Und zwar gucken wir das, oder beziehungsweise den Campfire Chat an. Ja, was ist das? Für Leute, die es nicht kennen, da reden die Entwickler von Diablo über das, was jetzt in nächster Zeit kommen soll, was deren Pläne sind. So Balance, Updates und so weiter und so fort. Ich habe selbst Diablo 4 schon in der Beta gespielt. In der Beta war ich noch ein bisschen skeptisch, weil das Skillsystem mir irgendwie nicht so zugesagt hat. Also irgendwie hatte ich kaum Spaß damit, vor allem weil ich das Skillsystem von Last Epoch halt schon kannte, weil ich das ja im Early Access gespielt habe. Dann aber zum Release habe ich es dann doch ganz gerne gespielt, Diablo 4. Also ich habe dann doch einige Zeit im Diablo 4 verbracht. Kurz darauf kam ja Season 1. Und Season 1 auch eigentlich für meine Verhältnisse gut gesuchtet. Ja, dann haben ja Freunde aufgehört zu zocken. Season 2 kam, keiner mehr da. Ich habe mal kurz reingeguckt. Keine Ahnung, Level 30 oder so habe ich geschafft. Also eigentlich kam Season 2 gut an in der Community. Aber ja, weil ich halt allein unterwegs war, habe ich dann selber kaum gespielt. Ja, jetzt glaube ich, irgendwann im Januar kam Season 3. Die Season 3 kommt jetzt wieder weniger gut an bei der Community. Und jetzt ist halt auch der Konkurrent Last Epoch in der 1.0 Version released. Ja, was natürlich das Kritischste am Season 3 war, sie haben ein Feature versprochen, und zwar der Gauntlet. Also so ein Dungeon, das sich wöchentlich ändert und den man halt machen kann und halt, wenn man halt gut ist, dann halt im Leaderboard auftaucht. Also Leaderboard dann auch neues Feature. Naja, kam bis jetzt noch nicht. Darum geht's heute. Unter anderem um diesen Gauntlet. Diesen Spießrutenlauf, glaube ich, sagt man im Deutschen. Das ist gleich die deutsche Übersetzung. Ja. Und sie wollen kurz heute über Season 4 reden. Irgendwas. Sie wollen auch von diesem Gauntlet halt, ja, Live-Gameplay, glaube ich, zeigen. Genau. Und was sie noch gleich geschrieben haben, sie wollen halt vampirische Mächte jetzt zurückbringen in dem nächsten Update. Sprich, die vampirischen Mächte waren so das Thema von Season 2. Dass da halt so das, was gut ankam, halt wieder mit dabei ist. Haben sie an Season 2 aus Season 1 auch gemacht. Da haben sie, also in Season 1 gab es diese Herzen, die man die Schmuckstücke setzen konnte. Und die haben sie an Season 2 als, ja, Legendary-Effekte zurückgebracht. Genau. Als ich dann damals zum Diablo 4 Release gestartet bin, habe ich mit Negro gestartet. Hatte eigentlich auch ganz viel Spaß. Aber ja, also mit dem, was ich gespielt habe, irgendwie musste man doch so viel drücken, keine Ahnung, um was zu erreichen. Man braucht halt, um Kampf zu starten, halt ordentlich zu starten, brauchte man halt die Leichen. Ich habe dann nochmal einen Druide gespielt. hatte dann wirklich sehr viel Spaß mit diesen pulverisierenden Druiden. Also machst du deine Schockwelle und einfach alles platzt und hast keine großen Aufwände. Das war auf jeden Fall sehr spaßig. Ja. In Season 2 habe ich Rogue gespielt. Twisting Blade Rogue. Ja, kurz nur noch so ein bisschen. Also, wie ihr seht, der Stream, auf den ich reagiere, der ist in Englisch und ich werde halt mit Deutsch drüber treten. Ich kenne jetzt aber die ganzen Begriffe aus Diablo nicht wirklich auf Deutsch, sondern kenne sie auch mehr so auf Englisch, obwohl ich gleich auf Deutsch gespielt habe. Bin auf jeden Fall gespannt, ob es sich wieder lohnt, reinzugucken. Ja, aber wo ich halt jetzt gerade war, also der Work in Season 1 habe ich gegen gespielt und da war spaßig. Auf jeden Fall. Also mit diesem Barberherz war ja ist alles geplatzt. War auf jeden Fall gut zu sehen. Auf jeden Fall, ja, spannend zu sehen, ob das Spiel mich jetzt vielleicht mal zurückholen kann. Ob es vielleicht mal wieder Diablo 4 hier im Stream gibt. Gameplay. Ja. Was ich immer schade finde bei Battle.net, dass man seine Spielzeit nicht sieht. Also bei Last Epoch sehe ich am Steam meine Spielzeit. Ja, inzwischen gibt es Diablo 4 auch in Steam. Also könnte man da auch spielen und seine Spielzeit sehen. Aber ja, jetzt doch mal kaufen ist natürlich Unsinn. Genau. Ja, Chat, wenn ihr noch irgendwas wissen wollt, schreibt es gerne. Auf Fragen, falls ihr. Oh, ich glaube, Season 2 Trailer kommt. Ja, doch 3.
Season of the Construct has so much going on.
New quest lines, new legendary items, new unique items, new mechanics, challenges, and more. In the
Season of the Construct.
You learn of a wondrous place beneath the sands of Kyrgyzstan, filled with untold treasure. Nearly all who seek this treasure never return. Those that do return are haunted, or worse yet, possessed. You seek out this place to put an end to whatever is lurking there.
Following a lead, you discover a sprawling network of underground vaults. It houses the Loom, a priceless apparatus built long ago by the brilliant mages Zoltan Kul and Ayujan of Chaldeum to shape the elements and build tools to serve humanity.
While exploring the network, you rescue Ayujan, only to discover that the demon Malphus has taken over the Loom to create its own private hell.
Malphus is a servant of Diablo. He is unlike other demons we've encountered in Diablo 4. He's shapeless, manipulates others, takes on forms other than his own.
He has possessed one of Zoltan Kul's prized constructs.
And you must work with Ayujan to explore the vaults, gain access to the Loom, and defeat Malphus.
This season introduces constructs. These elementally powered monsters were originally created by Ayujan and Zoltan to protect and maintain the Loom. Unfortunately, Malphus has taken control of them and twisted them to his liking. They're powered by various different elements, giving them different abilities and strengths and weaknesses. You'll also find them, of course, in the vaults themselves, protecting the many treasures within. As players engage with the storyline of the Season of the Construct, they're going to come across a broken version of the Seneschal during the questline. The Seneschal is a special construct that was built to command the other constructs based on Ayujan's and Zoltan's direction. Ayujan of Chaldeum repairs the Seneschal to follow your orders.
The seneschal construct is your companion. It's a rebuilt construct that will accompany you throughout the season. Your construct's power will grow along with you. The seneschal construct has many different abilities that can complement the player's build. It can deal damage, crowd control monsters, or even support you directly by healing
Genau,
you or
jetzt
providing
halt in
you a
Season
damage
3 hat
bonus.
man sein eigenes
Magical
Konstrukt,
stones are the key to customizing and empowering your construct. They are
was man halt
primarily
verbessern
found in
kann.
vaults.
Wie
You get
gesagt, ich habe es
governing
jetzt selber
stones
nicht
from the
gespielt.
season quest line, and you get tuning stones from playing through the seasonal content. A governing stone is a core construct ability, while a tuning stone is a singular modification for any number of governing stones.
As players are progressing through the season of the construct and they're leveling up their seneschal, adding new abilities and improving them, they're going to find abilities that are going to deal damage to packs of monsters, to single monsters, and also abilities that are just focused on buffing the power of the player themselves, so that players have different options as they're progressing through the season.
One cool ability is Auto Defense. Auto Defense summons a magical barrier around your construct that shoots down enemy projectiles. Another cool ability that your construct has is Focus Fire. It is a channeled ray of fire that can chain to multiple enemies. Use combinations of tuning stones to transform a seemingly simple skill into something truly crazy.
Vaults are seasonal dungeons that are filled with a high concentration of deadly traps, where you can farm for the magic stones for your seneschal constructs. You can find the entrances in different zones of Sanctuary. When the player enters a vault, they are met in a familiar area of Sanctuary. Then,
Die
the player
Vaults sind ja auch
teleports to
nicht
the vault
so
proper,
gut
encountering
angekommen,
great challenges. Vaults not only have our new construct
dass es da
family
wohl
in them,
viele
but
Fallen
also
gibt
new
und
traps
ja,
built
man
for
eigentlich
this season.
einen Jump and Run hat und
Discover
kein Hack and
many new
Slay.
hazards inside these vault spaces. You know, whether it is spinning pillars shooting out flames or other traps, players need to stay on their toes while they're progressing through these vaults in order to stay alive.
Each vault culminates in a gauntlet of true skill. Players must avoid traps while fighting waves of enemies and a powerful elite. If you survive that, the traps will turn off and the treasure room is revealed. If you get hit by a trap, you lose 1 stack of Zoltan's Warding. Zoltan's Warding is a special buff players can get by interacting with the statue of Zoltan Cool when they enter a vault, if they have a Pearl of Warding. Ward-woven chests are special chests players can interact with at the end of a vault if they have enough stacks of Zoltan's Warding left over. If a player has more than 1 stack, they can open a rare ward-woven chest. Those have even better rewards. This season introduces our first stationary boss in Diablo 4.
This is going to be a fight against this massive protective golem meant to watch over the vaults. The Malphus, once again, has managed to corrupt and
So,
control.
gleich ist es
Because
20 Uhr.
it's stationary, it gives us the
Es wird auch
opportunity
das
to
der
include
Neueste
some of the
aufkommen.
season's new traps into the
Bis
arena.
jetzt ist alles, was
This
halt jetzt
presents
schon
a
da
lot
ist.
of unique and new mechanics for the players to
Wie
navigate and
gesagt,
fight.
Season 2,
The player's going to
3
need to bring all of their
kam im
skills and abilities
Januar
to bear
irgendwann, glaube ich.
as they try to destroy and fight off these Malphus
Bin jetzt auch
controlled
nicht mehr so
constructs.
drinne.
They're also going to make good use of their own seneschal, make sure they remain upgraded in the fights to come.
So, und da ist The Gauntlet.
The Gauntlet is a new fixed seed non-linear
Kam bis
dungeon.
heute noch nicht.
Players have a fixed
Aber wie
amount of
gesagt, wird
time
heute nochmal
to
drüber
achieve high
geredet.
scores by proving their might. Any player who unlocks World Tier 4, Torment Mode, can compete in the Gauntlet. The Gauntlet starts several weeks into the season of the construct. At the beginning of each week, a new Gauntlet replaces the current one. Unlike other dungeons, every time you and other players enter the Gauntlet that week, it will be exactly the same. Same monster positions, same affixes, everything. This makes it a fair competition.
Genau. Der Dungeon bleibt eine Woche komplett gleich für alle.
Level 100. This is meant to test your fully leveled up and geared out build. It's highly replayable, enabling a broad set of player choices.
Soll ich noch lauter
Players
machen?
can try different classes and strategies for achieving high scores. Leaderboards are a place for top players to compete with one another in the Gauntlet. These reset each week when a new Gauntlet appears. There are solo leaderboards for each class, as well as party leaderboards that vary with party size. And of course, there are a set of leaderboards just for hardcore players too. But some players may not be ready for that type of play, so we've created goals for them as well. Each leaderboard has a ladder that you climb to reach it. Each rung of the ladder awards a seal that you can
Genau,
show
da
off.
ist das Leaderboard,
When
wo
you
ich auch
earn the
drüber geredet
seal of
habe.
the worthy, you'll be ready for leaderboard competition. Can't wait to see you in Sanctuary.
Am 23. Januar hat Season of the Construct begonnen.
Hello, Diablo community. Welcome to another Diablo 4 Campfire Chat.
Jetzt
My name
kommen
is
die neuen
Adam Quest. I'm
Sachen.
the community director here for Diablo, and I'm joined by two very, very familiar faces. Regular appearing people on Campfire Chats. I have Mr. Adam Jackson here, so our lead class designer, and Mr. Joey P. Joe Pipora, our associate game director.
Danke fürs Feedback im Sound.
I don't
Dankeschön.
hate it. It's just, it feels like a running gag that like a very few people have.
There's,
Well,
now Tiffany Watt, our production director.
Ja, wer hat Diablo 4 verfolgt?
Joey P.
Joey P on deck. Yeah, what's up?
We have a big Campfire Chat to talk about
Wer hat Diablo
today.
4 verfolgt, kennt die
We have a
Gesichter.
lot of updates to talk about for Diablo 4.
Es wird jetzt,
Of course, we have
nee,
our
es gibt jetzt
mid-season
keinen Trailer,
update,
also
which is coming up
es,
really soon. In fact,
es geht halt um
coming next
einen ganz
week.
normalen Patch.
So,
Keine neue Season, sondern
players will be
Season
able
läuft
to
halt noch.
experience the mid-season update. And
Und
along
da
with
gibt es
that,
jetzt
a
halt
very
einfach
big feature that everyone's been talking about
ein
and
Mid-Season
anticipating.
Update.
I know it's
Und
been a
da,
long
darum
anticipated
geht es
feature
heute
within
vorrangig.
Diablo 4, and that is the Gauntlet.
Dass
So, we'll be
Gauntlet
talking
endlich
about the
kommt,
Gauntlet
dass
as well and actually showcasing
Balance-Updates
it,
kommen
because that
und
does
die
come with the
vampirischen Mächte, wie
mid-season
vorhin
update
gesagt.
next week as well. So players will be able to jump into the Gauntlet and try it out themselves starting next Tuesday. But I know a lot of stuff
nächsten
has happened over
Dienstag.
Diablo 4
Okay.
since the start of Season 3. Just recently, we released the 132 patch, which was the one that included a way for players who actually have a bunch of Uber uniques and want to craft Uber uniques. They can do that by creating resplendent sparks and then being able to craft the Uber uniques that they specifically want if they happen to find other ones and stuff. And so, but we do have a lot of new features coming into the actual mid-season update with 133. One really popular one coming back from
man kann
Season
jetzt
2. I know you
diese
guys want to talk about it a
besonderen
little bit more
Uniques
now.
schmieden.
Yes, we have vampiric powers returning from season 2.
Yep.
Yeah. So we obviously really like being able to bring back some of the malignant powers from season 1 in the form of the unique rings we have dropping from Varshan in season 2. Now, as we're looking towards season 3, in the mid-season patch,
Genau, wie ich gesagt habe, die vampirischen Mächte kommen zurück. Also, welche werden zurückkommen?
We'll bring them back in a slightly different form. I think Adam's going to talk about in a minute.
Yeah, we'll be going over all of them and which ones we brought back and what they do. You'll be able to see all of it in a little bit here.
Yeah, so I think we have a kind of a slide to start talking about our vampiric powers.
Yeah, so really we've got 6 vampiric powers that are really returning from the Season of Blood. They're coming back this time as legendary powers instead of uniques. So
6
unlike the unique
vampirische
rings,
Mächte
they're
kommen
going to be
zurück und
legendary
das
powers
als
just like any other
legendäre
legendary power
Mächte.
that comes
Ist
in the
auf jeden
game.
Fall interessant.
And they're not all exact one-to-one copies. They're really close to matching their previous functionality and kind of what you would expect them to
Es
do.
wird
But
zu
you
den
know, we
Mächten
brought them back in a
kleine
way that's kind of evergreen that they can be
Anpassungen geben.
sustainable.
Yeah, they can fit in
for a
that
healthy
mix
version
and
of the
match
game.
format of the aspect system, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, so the ones we got here that are returning, you've got Accursed Touch, Blood Boil, Hectic, Metamorphosis, a fan favorite.
Ich kann jetzt nicht sagen, was die Power, also die Mächte machen, aber klingt auf jeden Fall als Mächte, die ich auch benutzt habe in Season
Just in
2.
case if you forgot from Season 2.
Genau, das mit den Blutkugeln, mit dem
The
Bären habe ich auch
fan favorite ones.
benutzt.
Of course, everyone loves Metamorphosis, a huge big one.
Yep.
Being able to turn into bats, essentially evade through enemies.
Ist auf jeden
But as
Fall
you mentioned,
nicht
they're coming
schlecht, dass
back
es
as
zurückbringt.
these legendary aspects, legendary powers.
Yeah,
Dass
so
man damit
here we're going to
Legendaries
show you
machen
the
kann.
exact text, so you can screen cap that, figure out all the exact differences between these and what's in Season 2. Largely the same, a few differences. The biggest one I think you'll see in the next screen is Metamorphosis. Obviously, it's really, really strong.
War auf jeden Fall
So
lustig.
now it's coming back, but it's going to increase the cooldown of your evade.
Yes, it's kind of like that legendary aspect we put in season 3 that increases your armor, but also increases the duration of your evade timer.
Yes, very similar. So
like
you
these.
got a little bit of a
Aber
kiss
bei
cushion.
Yeah,
Legendary
that light effect, that choice for players to choose. Yeah, I like
Effekten
that.
muss man halt andere rausbauen, wenn man das haben möchte.
So yeah, next going into what our updates are, we've got kind of our generic updates here. So the first one a lot of people have been talking about is snapshotting. We've heard a lot of cases from people they brought up where snapshotting is a thing that's been reported to us. And to give a little bit of a
Okay, ich weiß gerade nicht,
kind of a
was
high level view of
Snapshotting
what
heißt.
snapshotting is, and not everybody is very familiar. Snapshotting is this idea that when you get a buff, let's say a damage buff, you're able to hold on to that buff for a longer duration than it would normally last if you use it on a skill that is like channeled or lasts a really, really long time. So a simple example, this would be like the Barbarian's Whirlwind. If let's say I got a 50% damage buff and it lasts for 4 seconds, if I have that buff on me the moment I channel Whirlwind, it'll keep that buff going until I cancel Whirlwind because I had it when it started. And so if I keep my Whirlwind going forever, I'll keep that 50% damage buff way beyond the normal 4-second time.
Okay, also
If
man
the game didn't
konnte
have
Buffs länger
snapshotting, then
halten,
it
wenn
would
man
just
sowas
last
wie
for 4 seconds,
Wirbelwind
whether or not I
benutzt hat.
started Whirlwind when I had it, and that would be how long I would
Also
be doing the
wenn
bonus
der Buff
damage.
4 Sekunden ging
So
und
in
man
general,
dann
when it comes to snapshotting,
Wirbelwind
we kind of
gemacht hat, dann ging
we
der Buff
want
so
to
lange wie
really remove it
Wirbelwind
from the
ging.
game as much as we can.
Und
It
jetzt
does allow for some kind of
entfernen
cool
sie
things,
das.
but generally snapshotting is used to do really kind of undesirable behavior, whether it's unequipping and re-equipping gear at certain times or using certain effects at certain times to get way more power than a player should normally be able to be. And it results in the things like people
Macht dieses
gathering up a ton of
mit
buffs and then like
Maxing
one-shotting a boss and things
weniger.
like that in unintuitive ways. So we fixed every case that's been reported to us so far and will continue to, and we're going to move toward more of a systemic approach to taking it out. Also for the Gauntlet, because we know that a few people were concerned about the Gauntlet and how snapshotting would be able to work there. In the Gauntlet, your gear, the skill tree, and the Paragon board cannot be changed. So you can't do any weird things of unequipping, re-equipping legendaries or
diesen
things like that to try and
Komplett
gain an
kann man
advantage.
als seine Rüstung,
What you bring into the
seinen
Gauntlet is
Skillbaum und
basically
die
going to be locked.
Paragon-Punkte nicht
So it'll
ändern.
be a fair place for people to compete.
Macht auf jeden Fall Sinn, ja.
And lastly, more generic thing, but the Rogue, we found an issue where the Weapon Mastery passive was double dipping on critical strike damage bonuses, particularly when you mixed Weapon Mastery and the Precision Key passive.
Bugfixing ist nie
Players were able
verkehrt.
to do way more damage than was intended.
Kann man machen.
So that is another bug fix that is coming in this patch. All right, so next let's get into our first round of the class updates. First, we're going to start with the Seneschal construct.
Yeah, the Seneschal class.
Yeah, the Seneschal class.
Yeah.
So really,
Also
we've
es geht
resolved
das
quite a few
Konstrukt.
different bugs and also reduced the power of some things that were overperforming. The first one is that when you used basically AoE buffs like the Barbarian Warcry or the Druid's Blood Howl, the Seneschal would be double dipping in the amount of bonus that it would get in its damage bonus, so we fixed a bug there. And next we did quite a bit of updates to some of the tuning stones. The Poison Support Tuning Stone isn't going to be reapplying the base damage when it spreads. It's going to match more the functionality
Zu
of
dem
other
Konstrukt kann ich halt
overtime tuning
jetzt, wie
stones.
gesagt, nicht viel sagen,
The
da
Bleeding
ich
and Burning
halt
Support
Season 3 nicht
tuning stones
gespielt
were a
habe.
little bit overpowered, so we're reducing the power of those a little bit as well.
Ja, aber wenn
And
das
then lastly,
zu
the
stark
Tempest
ist,
Governing
auf jeden Fall
Stone
gut, wenn es
was
genervt
basically
wird.
resulting in a situation where you could get unlimited damage bonuses by it constantly bouncing and getting more and more and more.
Hab auf jeden Fall mal
And so
gelesen,
now
dass
it's no
dieses
longer
Konstrukt
gonna
auch
get bonus
alleine
damage and
irgendwie Bosse
duration when
legen
it
kann.
spreads, it's just going to spread and do that
Das ist
base
halt
amount of
natürlich auch nicht
damage.
Sinn der Sache.
All right, so next, let's get into the class updates. So we're going to start with the Barbarian. And again, we've got
So,
stuff
der
for every
Barbar.
single class. Right now, I'm
First
sure...
bullet, very powerful.
Very powerful.
Yeah, Barbarian's pretty good right now.
Barbar ist
As
schon
many of you
ziemlich
I
lange
know,
ziemlich
the
powerful.
Barbarian's pretty
Ziemlich
good
stark.
right now.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people really like Charge, it turns out. It's a really strong skill.
It's a fun skill.
Probably the biggest update you're going to
Charge
see
haben
here,
sie ordentlich
the next
gebufft
bullet
zur
point,
Season.
is that we're not really planning to nerf Charge in this patch. Before we had talked
Also sie
about
wollen's
kind of
nicht
our bar for what we would consider to be too
nerven.
strong in the game where we were nerfing a mid-season patch. Charge is like right up there. And we talked a lot as a design team and made a call that we were going to keep it for the rest of the season. So, you know, we know
Also
it's
sie haben's
really,
halt
really
richtig
good. It's
stark
really, really
gebufft.
strong. A lot of people
So
are having a lot of
richtig
fun with
stark
it.
zur
We could
Season
have gone
3.
either way on this, so we're open to feedback of what the community thinks. But now with the launch of the Gauntlet, we're going to keep it in and kind of see how it rides out. We've been seeing over time that other classes have found things that are also really, really powerful too. So we're gonna try that this season and see how it goes.
Ihr habt gehört, Feedback ist
But in addition
gerne
to that, we've got some changes
gehört
coming
und
for
gelesen.
Barbarian. You know, we still get feedback that a lot of their early game is kind of tough. So we're going to be buffing up a lot of their basic skills to make the early game go a little bit
Ja, die
smoother.
Basisfähigkeiten werden gefühlt immer
And then we're also doing
gebufft,
some buffs to
jedes
some
Mal.
underused skills and upgrades. There's some examples here. We've got Strategic Ground Stomp. The ultimate cooldown reduction is being doubled from 1 to 2 seconds. One of the Iron Skin upgrades and the upgrade for Call of the Ancients is just getting a number increase.
Ja, Buffs zu Skills, die nicht
And Board's
genutzt werden. Das
Devastating Grip. So this is kind of a
Familiar name.
storied history in our game. Yeah, it was really, really good when the game launched. And now we brought it down quite a bit, and now we're increasing its power a little bit again to bring
ist,
back
glaube ich,
Whirlwind builds.
Wirbelwind.
So the ranks of Whirlwind are going up
Unique.
from 1 to 2 to 2 to 3, and we're increasing the amount
Was
of the
gebufft
explosion
wird.
damage a little bit there as well. So really,
Ja.
when it comes to what you look forward to the Barbarian, it's really everything because we're not nerfing Charge, but also their early game
Mit
and
dem
Whirlwind
Unique wird
builds
dann
will be a
halt
little bit better as
Wirbelwind
well.
besser.
And again, when we're going through all these updates for the classes, this isn't everything that is going in that we're showing you. You'll be able to see the patch notes very soon, but this is just a sneak peek of some of the things that are happening. So there is a little bit
Da
more
ich
for every
selber
company
nicht
than what we're
gespielt habe,
showing
weiß ich
today.
jetzt nicht, wie sich
So
der
next we
Barbaren
got the
führt.
Sorceress. So
Mage wollte ich
Incinerate
spielen.
is a skill that we know people had kind
Diese
of a hard time
Season.
really getting a lot of
Hab
effectiveness
Runde
out of.
erstellt
So
und
we're
nicht
increasing
angefangen.
basically everything across the board. The damage is going up. All of its upgrades are going up. So Incinerate players should be rejoicing.
Ja.
We've also got quite a few buffs to conjuration skills coming in. So for people that like using conjurations.
Jetzt auch nicht so,
And then also some buffs to really generically used, underused passives.
sind
in
auch nicht so
Gauntlet.
Skills,
really
die
across
oft
the board,
genutzt
you're
werden,
just gonna
glaube
see
ich.
some buffs to various things. So here again, for Sorc players, Incinerate and really Conjurations are the things that you have to look forward to.
Hält sich auf jeden Fall in Grenzen.
And next we've got the Druid, who's got quite a
Druide,
few powerful
lieb ich
things
sehr.
coming. So similar to the Barbarian, the Druids, we've gotten feedback that they kind of, they have a really, really strong late game, but their early game getting there
Ja,
can be a little bit
Basisfähigkeiten wie
tedious to
immer
go. So we're buffing a
gebufft.
lot of their basic skills.
Wir hatten irgendwie
We gave
jeden
an
Patch
example here
gebufft.
for the Druid with Wind Shear.
Keine
So you
Ahnung.
can see here the Spirit generation is going up, the damage is being increased, and the Wild Wind Shear upgrade, which gives you more Spirit when you hit enemies, is also going up. So really just better resource management in the early game. And then Companion Druid. So we could pretty consistently
Okay,
hear from players that
Begleiter
they really
werden
want to
auch
make a
gebufft
companion build
vom
really
Schaden her.
work and feel good. So we've got some damage buffs across the board for all of the companions, particularly Wolves is getting quite a bit stronger. But we've got
Ja,
things
die
for
werden
Wolves,
gefühlt
Poison
auch
Creeper,
jedes
and
Mal
Ravens.
gebufft. Also irgendwie.
And then we've got some additional
Immer
buffs
zu
to some
schwach.
underused passives.
Ja,
And then
Buffs
last
zu
but not least,
Passive,
the
die
Storm's
nicht genutzt werden.
Companion unique. So this is the one that makes your wolves howl when they do some lightning damage in an AoE. The ranks of wolves that you're getting is going to be increased from 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. And then
Und ein
also the
Unique für die
storm
Wölfe
howl
wird
damage,
gebufft.
that damage that happens when the lightning
Okay.
bolts come down, is being increased by a lot. And so you could see here.
Enhance. Yeah.
Yeah, so before I was doing in this example at this level 100 to maybe 400 damage, 150 to
Sind
400.
auf jeden
And now it's
Fall
going to be doing closer to 8
größere
to 1300
Schadenszahl, ja.
damage per strike. And these things strike multiple times too, and in an AoE, so it's actually quite a bit of an increase. So really, as far as Druids, your early game will feel better for pretty much every build, and then Companions and especially Wolves are going to be quite a bit more powerful.
Dieses Bild, was unten rechts eingefügt haben,
Next, we've
das
got the
macht mich
Rogue.
schon seit dem letzten Update fertig.
So we've got Heartseeker and Forcefoyer. Their attack speeds are being increased. So
So, Schocker.
when it comes to basic skills, a lot of people gravitate to Puncture. It's really, really strong. It
Auch
applies
wieder
vulnerable, but
Bassfähigkeiten,
also
die
you're
gebufft
able to
werden.
stutter step, and it feels really good when you cast it.
And you're just throwing knives.
Yes, and
Throwing
knife throwing
knives
is
is
cool.
rad.
I can't
Jeder
give everyone
nutzt
knives on
Puncture.
every skill, but
Habe ich
I
auch
also
genutzt,
think arrows
als
are
ich
kind of cool.
den Schurken gespielt habe.
Throw knives and everything.
Maybe knives on the
Da
arrows.
ist gut, dass die anderen gebufft werden.
But anyways, as far as how it feels to use, the two arrow skills should feel exactly the same as Puncture. As far as how you're able to stutter step, how quickly you're able to cast them, they've been made to match. And then we also heard some feedback that Flurry isn't really feeling as good compared to the other core skills, so we're increasing its damage. And then we're also improving the functionality of
Okay,
both of those
Flurry habe
upgrades.
ich
They're
nie
just going to be a
gespielt.
little bit more
Ich habe,
useful.
wie gesagt, Twisting Blades gespielt.
And then Precision, everybody's favorite new change in Season 3. We're actually going to be reducing the stacks required for bonuses from 6 to 4. So this is a buff to Precision. It's really meant to help with actually the rhythm and the way that you feel when you cast it. That how
Also bis
often you
jetzt
get the
dann nur
proc should just
Buffs.
feel a little bit better to use when you're using it in combination with other skills. And then last but not least, we got the aspect of branching volleys. We're kind of redesigning or upgrading this legendary quite a bit. This is with Barrage. When your Barrage arrows bounce, they do more damage, but now we're actually adding a little bit more to it.
Okay.
So you can see here on the
Ah,
left is kind of the
ein
old
unique-
version, which basically said
yeah.
that your arrows had a chance to split
Ah,
into 2 arrows whenever they
Legendary
ricochet.
Effekt.
And I love that
cannot.
zoom in.
Oh, yeah.
So now on the right, firstly, it's going to increase just the base damage of ricocheting arrows from Barrage. And then also they still keep that chance to split into 2, but that chance has also been increased by quite a bit.
Yeah.
So really this legendary just wasn't very powerful
Okay.
or being used very much. And now it should be quite a bit better.
Auf jeden Fall besser.
So yeah, as far as things to look forward to, really range builds I think
Wie
are going
gesagt,
to feel
also
pretty good.
sie
And then
buffen
Flurry as well is
jetzt
getting quite a big increase.
fast nur noch. Sie wollen kaum nerven.
And last but not least, we have the Necromancer, and we have a lot to cover here with Necromancer, so
Das ist die
pull on
letzte
your butts here.
Klasse.
So first we got
Necromancer.
minion buffs,
One block, just minion buffs.
giant block of text here. So really their damage is being increased by about 20%
Ja,
just
Minions.
across all minions.
Also die
Their
Diener
health
werden
is
wie immer
going up by about
gebufft.
10%. A
Das
lot of their
passiert auch immer.
passives here you can see are being increased. We've got Help, then Commander, Cult Leader. Corporeal is a pretty big one, I think, that you'll be able to look forward to. So before it was that you and your minions just deal increased physical damage. Now it's also going to be giving you increased move speed for every active minion.
Yes.
So-
Okay, die Küfe gibt extra
Yeah,
Movement Speed jetzt noch dazu.
Catching up with
Für
your
den
army and vice versa
aktiven
as you
Diener.
go through the game.
Klingt auf jeden
We
Fall
also
gut.
fixed an issue with Skeletal Reapers where they were spawning too few corpses, so now they're going to be giving a lot more corpses when you take that upgrade.
Könnte man
And
vielleicht
also
mal
just
einen
talking about
Necromancer
minions
mit
a little bit.
Dienern
Minions is
spielen,
one of our big priorities to kind of make feel really good.
wenn die
We
jedes Mal
think that
gebufft werden.
the issue with minions is not just that they're not dealing enough damage, but also we want to increase kind of the cool factor and the way that you engage
Und für
with them,
Season 4 ist noch mehr
particularly the golem.
geplant.
So we do have quite a bit more coming in Season 4 that I wanted to let everybody know about. But this is kind of a little bit of a taste of what we plan to
The
do with
initial
minions.
volley of changes.
The
for
initial volley of
Necromancer.
changes. Yes, we
Yeah.
have a lot coming in Season 4 in addition to this. And then next, we've got also buffs and functionality adjustments to a bunch of other things. One example here with
Ja,
the passive is spiked
Passive
armor.
vom Necromancer
And it kind of makes sense
werden
that it would give you
gebufft.
armor. So now it's also going to give you armor in addition to thorns. Death's Reach is a passive that we're redesigning completely. It used to be that you dealt more damage to enemies that are far away. Now we're changing it to be Death's Advance, which really just gives you move speed. So now, generically, Necromancer players will have a way to just put 3 points in a passive and gain additional move speed more than other
That'd
classes.
be great, yeah.
And then we've also got some core skill buffs, particularly to Blight, Blood Surge, and Sever. There's
Okay.
some number buffs, and I think
Fähigkeiten
even
werden
some
auch gebufft.
like functionality and other tweaks to make the bulk of them feel a lot better.
Jede
So
Menge
really, when it
Buffs.
comes to Necromancer players, movement speed is the name of the game here.
Ich hoffe, die
and also minion builds should
Necromancer-Spieler da
feel, quite a
draußen
bit better
freuen
than
sich.
before. And lastly, we wanted to talk with you all a little bit about how we do our updates and the timing of them. We've run into a issue, not really an issue, but a situation that happens pretty commonly. So normally when we think about updates, in our last live stream, we talked about how, we kind of made a promise with you that at the start of every season, every class was going to
Also
get
sie
at least one new
wollen
legendary and
ja
one new
Updates
unique.
der Klassen
And what
halt
happens sometimes is
ja,
we'll have
gerecht
a
auf
new
die Klassen halt
legendary
verteilen.
or a new unique in the pipe,
Dass
and
halt
we have a
zum
cool
Beispiel
idea,
zu
we've made a new
Season
design for
Start
something,
jeder
like an
Klasse
example, let's say,
einen neuen Legendary-Effekt und ein
Fireball
neues Unique
Sorcerer,
bekommt,
right? We have a really cool new legendary
so
for
dass
Fireball
keine
Sorcerer
Klasse halt
that
zu
we've
kurz
put
kommt
in,
oder
we've play
halt
tested, and
eine
it's ready to go.
alles
But
bekommt
we
und die
don't
anderen
have
nicht.
a new legendary for every other class to go with it, right? And we kind of run into the situation where we have to decide, like, is it okay to put something into the game when one class will get more than other classes, right? We tend to try and keep things mostly equal when it comes to these updates. And so we kind of wanted to hear your feedback a little bit of would you be okay and would it be cool with the community if when we
Sie
have
wollen Feedback
more
hören,
than
ob das
the
okay
equal
ist,
amount
wenn
of other
die
classes and
Klasse mehr
updates to do,
bekommt.
that we just put them in when they're ready, or should we wait until everybody kind of has parity on things? The other situation where this comes up quite a bit is where, like, we know that a build really needs some help. Like, I'll use
Also
Frozen
sie haben es
Orb
bis
as an
jetzt immer
example,
versucht,
right?
das
Where
halt
Frozen Orb,
gleich
we
zu
want to make a new
verteilen
playstyle for
und wollen
Frozen
jetzt halt
Orb,
Feedback haben, ob
and
es
we
auch
want to
okay
add
ist,
like
wenn sie
two
für eine Klasse
legendaries
mehr
and a
haben
unique to really
und
make
das halt
this thing
entsprechend
sing, right?
rausbringen,
Like just adding
wenn es halt für eine
one
Klasse mehr gibt.
power isn't enough to make this whole playstyle work. And so would it be okay if, you see in the patch notes in the season that Sorcerer gets, 2 uniques and 4 legendaries and everybody else just gets 1, but we've enabled this really cool thing? Or do you think it's smarter for us to just kind of wait until every class can get a cool new thing of that equivalent amount of stuff coming into the game? So, we're open to
schreibt gerne
feedback here.
Feedback
We're
an
going to be
das
looking at,
Diablo 4 Team
Reddit and forums and other places, kind of what you think. But we're kind of leaning towards just putting
auf
things in when
Reddit,
they're ready.
in den
But we
Foren.
wanted to turn this into a conversation and
Schreibt
let you,
eure
the
Meinung.
community, kind of have your voice as well.
Yeah.
How you wanted us to put these things
Yeah,
in.
get some feedback.
Sie lesen es.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
post live stream, or I know we know that the conversations will come up regarding this specific topic, and so
Yeah.
we'll be looking around and kind of gathering community feedback on like what you guys prefer, and kind of going with that, and listening in on what you guys actually want.
Also ich würde es okay finden, wenn in Season 4
so
Druid
please
alles
chime into
bekommt
different
und ich
conversations
wieder
that you guys see related to that topic, because we'll most
Druide
definitely be
spielen
checking
kann.
it out and paying attention. So.
Yeah.
And this is just a small, as Adam mentioned, this is just a small piece of what we're actually including in
Ja,
the
wie
mid-season update.
dolle
The full
sie
patch notes are
Feedback
actually
jetzt
gonna be
wirklich
out
lesen, das ist
tomorrow.
natürlich schon wieder die
So
Frage.
we'll end up posting all those before the weekend, and players can check out the full entire patch notes. And of course, this mid-season update includes all the vampiric powers. It also includes Gauntlet, which we're about to showcase here. So
Okay, also
it's a pretty beefy mid-season
morgen
update.
gibt es die Patch Notes
Just
für
to
den
remind
Mid-Season
people as well, because
Patch,
I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, there's
der
a
am
lot of changes
Dienstag
in this mid-season update.
wahrscheinlich wieder 19
What
Uhr
we talked
kommen
about
wird.
at the beginning of Season 3 is like the cadence of how we plan on doing these updates.
Yeah.
You know, we plan on doing pretty significant changes, of course, at the start of a season because it's a brand new season, so it makes sense there. And then, you know, we take the time to evaluate, and then we make pretty significant changes in mid-season updates as well, based off of feedback that we saw since the start of the season. And of course, you know, once we get into a new season, things change again, and you know, meta changes and class balance changes occur then. So players can expect to see that there. There is the rare occurrence, as like for instance, that you know we'll be monitoring feedback if something does come up that is like absolutely like breaking or whatever, that we may end up making a tweak on based off of community feedback. But that is typically the cadence that we had talked about at the beginning of the season, and we just want to remind players like you can always expect these big moments during the beginning and the middle part of the season for itself.
Correct, yeah.
Awesome. So the
Genau,
next thing we do
also
want to
große
talk about is
Änderungen
the
immer
Gauntlet.
zu Season-Start
You
und
know, this is a
zur Mitte der
long-anticipated
Season.
feature. It is the leaderboard feature essentially within Diablo
Und
4.
jetzt geht es endlich
And
um
we
diesen
actually
Gauntlet und die
have
Leaderboards, die
a
da
cool
mit zusammenhängen.
showcase that we want to show you guys here. We have 3 different devs that are
We're going to
actually
show you
gonna
a
be-
showcase.
We're going to show you a showcase.
Just this once.
Showcase. But we have 3 different devs that are going to be joining us, and they're going to be running through their build specifically through the Gauntlet itself. And we are joined by 2 Diablo partners, 2 Diablo content creators who are going to be commentating through this. This is Anna Cake Live and Macro Bioboy. Thank you guys very much for helping us
Genau,
out
sie
here.
werden jetzt
And our
Gameplay
3
zeigen
devs are
von diesem
gonna be, of
Gauntlet.
course, from like
Also ich
here
glaube
within
live
Irvine.
Gameplay.
So, they'll be playing live here with
Von
Beautiful.
Entwicklern.
Irvine, California.
Yeah.
And so
Live
we
aus
actually have
Kalifornien.
John Constable, who is on the engineering team here for Diablo 4. We have Liam Kerr, who's a associate class designer on the design team here for Diablo 4. And we have Steven Stewart, who some people may recognize as Leviathan, a former Diablo content creator, or maybe still a Diablo content creator. He's like
bit of both.
behind the camera, I don't know, who will also be running through his build.
Genau, jetzt haben sie einmal die Leute
so you guys
vorgestellt,
can actually check it out. But
die halt
what we do
gleich
want to do is we do
zeigen,
want to hand it off to Anna Cake
die das
Live and
Gameplay
Macro Bioboy, who will
spielen
be running
live.
us through some of this Gauntlet stuff, and then we'll come back and we'll give you guys a few little updates about Season 4 and do some Q&A. So,
Yeah.
Macro, Anna, take it away.
Thank you so much, Adam. Hi, everyone. I am Anna Cake Live, and I'm
Genau, das sind
incredibly
zwei
happy to be here today
große
together with my
Content-Creator
friend
für
Macro.
Diablo
Happy
4.
to first time
Und
see
die werden
and
das
comment
jetzt kommentieren, dieses
on
Live-Gameplay.
showcase of the Gauntlet.
Hi, everybody. I'm Macro Bioboy. I'm your friendly neighborhood necromancer. Yeah, Anna, this is wildly exciting. It's so great that the players finally get to get their eyes on what we're going to be expecting coming out next week. We have the Gauntlet Showcase, 3 amazing developers.
Wird auf jeden Fall
These people who are
Zeit,
going
dass
to
dieser
show you all
Gauntlet
the
kommt.
stops, and we're going to be able to help to
Also gut, da ich
bridge the
Season 3
gap,
nicht
bring you some
gespielt
of that
habe,
information about the
kann ich auch
mechanics that are
Gauntlet nicht
going
spielen.
on,
Also
what
ist
you're
ja
actually seeing, and what you can
Endgame
expect
Content.
as well. So it looks like, first
Damit
off, and
sich
I'm
die
already
Besten der
incredibly
Besten
excited for
vergleichen
this, because
können.
you know I'm a necro boy here. We're going to be showcasing Liam Kerr on the Bone Spear Necromancer. This is like the build I'm the most excited for, and it looks like we're actually all set to hop right in. So let's go ahead and give him a
Let's
second
go.
to hop into the
Der
gameplay here.
Knochensperr
Here
Necromancer.
we go. And guys, we just started the Gauntlet. The first thing that we see the boss, and we just skip the boss. The Necromancer is just running, skipping the boss, proceeding into the dungeon, and apparently trying to get. I already see here is the first shrine. Macro, tell me something about this shrine
Ja.
and about this Necromancer. I know that you
Dieser
definitely want to share
Dungeon
with us
ist halt, wie
everything
gesagt,
that we need to know
für
about
alle
this
gleich.
necro.
Absolutely. So
Affixte,
before I get
gleiche
like too deep into the
Gegner.
Necromancer, let's basically just talk about what you're looking at in the
Und
Gauntlet.
wie man
You have
sieht,
8
hat man
minutes
hier
to get
halt
the
die
highest score
Zeit
possible.
und
Every monster
man
that you kill, every
hat
boss that you
ja
kill,
einen
as
Score,
well as some chests that we're going to see later on, are going to be dropping
den man halt
through
erhöht,
some
indem
light.
man
This is
halt
basically what you're
Gegner
getting, that
besiegt.
teal score there on the right side, and it's
Und mit
speed,
dem Score landet man dann halt
utility,
entsprechend
and
auf dem Leaderboard.
strategy is what we care about the most here. Monsters are going to be level 124.
Und dieser
so this is
Dungeon
similar to a Nightmare
ist halt
Dungeon
jede Woche ein
70
anderer.
in difficulty. That means that you don't have to worry
Und
as much
Leaderboard
about survivability
ist halt
or
dann
crazy
jede
damage
Woche
numbers.
resettet.
You need to be doing just enough to be able to kill things as you run and gun. Specifically to your question about the pillars that we're seeing here, these unique shrines in the Gauntlet itself, we have 2 new additions to the game. One is going to be a shrine that's going to
Für Leute, die das
respawn all
Spiel
of the
jetzt nicht so
monsters in
kennen,
the
die werden
dungeon.
einfach nur
That's
viele
right,
Zahlen
it's not
sehen,
just about getting through the dungeon as
wie
fast
alles
as possible, it's
explodiert.
about getting through it multiple times over. Secondly, we have another
Aber
shrine which is actually
ja,
going to increase
in
how
das
much
Epoch
score
ist
you
das ja
get
dann auch
whenever you
nicht
complete
anders.
any of those objectives that I just saw. And then right there, we actually have the return of normal shrines as well. These are going to be dropping off the bosses. Anna, what can you tell us more about these shrines and what people need to worry about strategizing with them?
Oh yeah, that's the whole this gauntlet. It's all about the strategy. The shrines gonna be always the same. They're gonna appear in the same places, and the shrines that gonna be dropping from the bosses that also will be the same. Then you need to plan your trip through the gauntlet. Are you gonna kill the boss? Are you planning to use those shrines? When are you planning to use those shrines? Once again, the shrines, the special shrines from this gauntlet, they will be either resetting all the monsters in the dungeon, and here we see our necromancer just killed the boss first time, resetted this boss, and he's going back and killing him again and getting a lot of proofs of might.
Okay, also es gibt so besondere Schreine in diesem
Necromancer current
Dungeon
score is already 58k. We are going
und
not bad.
die sind
We
halt
are
immer an
progressing
derselben Stelle
further,
und man kann
further
damit halt die
into the
Gegner
dungeon.
resetten,
The
halt, dass
map
alle Gegner wieder da
always
sind.
stay the same in this dungeon. It will stay the same for a week. So you can plan your path.
Man muss
always
also planen,
choose
wo
your
man
way, how you will be progressing in this dungeon.
lang geht.
And here we see the second shrine, the second pylon our necromancer touched.
So to talk a little bit more about the Bone Spear Necromancer, because I could go on and on and on about this build. I think this is basically going to be everybody's first attempt at what the best meta approach to this content is. Bone Spear has a lot of great mobility as well as ability to spread damage across the battlefield. So whether you're running past monsters and gunning back behind you, kind of training monsters along, players of Diablo 3 would have seen similar strategies in Greater Rifts, kind of bringing all of your monsters together before you waste any time actually
Also hier
killing
oben auf der
them.
Minimap sieht man diesen Totenkopf, das
Whether or
sind,
not you're
wo die
just like
Bosse sind.
front-loading all of your damage
Und
and
mit den
blasting
besonderen
through
Schreine kann man
bosses so
halt
that you have
auch
that
die
shrine moving
Bosse
forward. Like here we have the Blast Wave Shrine, right? This basically
halt
means that the
resetten.
Necromancer will be able to kill as they run, not worrying about having to spend any animation time actually casting their spells themselves. And I think that this is something that people are going to want to really tune into. Not only is the Gauntlet the same every single week, so literally every monster is going to be in the exact same place. Every time that you kill a monster that drops one of the keys, those are going to be in the exact same place too. So like I said before, it's not just about doing a lot of damage, being very fast. It's about picking every single time you spend any time at all, casting a skill, doing damage, or moving. And I definitely think that Bone Spear Necromancer is uniquely positioned
nochmal
in this
betont,
way to be able to keep
dass
that
halt
constant momentum in
innerhalb
damage
dieser
output.
Woche alles komplett gleich ist für jeden.
The necromancer
Jeder Mob
is
steht
doing
da, wo er
absolutely
steht. Jeder
stunning. Really good current
Mob, der
score
was
we have.
droppt auch im nächsten One
141k.
das Gleiche,
Yeah, going absolutely
den
not
gleichen
bad.
Key.
And guys, you can see in the corner there are the keys. We don't have yet any keys, but hopefully we're gonna
Und
get them
dass es halt
soon.
auch so ein bisschen um
So, we
Strategie
also
geht,
saw that in this
das
dungeon
Beste aus
there
diesem
are
Dungeon
special
rauszuholen, den
chests.
Highscore
White chests and a
zu
little bit
holen.
later, I think we're gonna see also yellow chests.
Dass
The
es
chest,
nicht nur
obviously,
Schaden ist, also
they
Schaden
have
ist
a lot
natürlich
of
auch
proof of
wichtig,
mights. They're helping you to increase the
aber
total
dass halt auch
score.
Strategie ist, wo
Get
läufst du
the
lang.
keys, you need to kill some special monsters. The monsters are staying the same, but when you're entering the dungeon, you don't know which monster it is. You will also have to first run a couple of times through the dungeons, kill all the monsters, find out who is actually dropping the key, and probably focus on those monsters. Also, keep in mind that you need probably kill them, couple of them, to be able to open the chests. By the way, we went right back to the beginning of the dungeon,
Also du
and
kannst halt,
probably our necromancer now decided
glaube ich, so
to
viele Runs machen, wie du
finish
möchtest.
our first boss, our Tom Lord.
Und dass
that
du
is
halt
waiting here.
so die ersten Runs erstmal alles einfach tötest
We
und
have
guckst,
really
wer
2
droppt
minutes,
was,
30 seconds left. 30
wer
seconds
macht
left.
was.
It's really important to recognize that too.
Und dass du
So
dann
the
nach
Tomb
halt
Lord
optimierst.
is a boss that is notorious for moving. And if you're a boss that moves, you're basically the antithesis of a Bone Spear Necro. Wants to keep you in a very specific place. So maybe it's not kill every single pack of monsters. Maybe it's not whittle down every single boss as you go. Since you know where the ones that are going to be the easiest for you to take out, you can make that part of your overall strategy. And running through these sections again and again, getting as much score as possible. Probably the best part about all of this, and it's something that like you might not have picked up on immediately.
Werde ich
You notice that every single
auf
time
jeden
you kill
Fall
a
welche
monster, like you
verfolgen.
just saw there, the score automatically flies into you. So this isn't like running a normal dungeon where you have to go back and pick up
Wie sie
those
dann
2
durch
failed
diesen Dungeon
crystals that
ab
you happen to
Dienstag
notice drop.
rennen.
Your only concern is running through this at breakneck speed, killing demons as you go. And the automatic pickup of score, the ability to know exactly where everything is, having that map fully explored, and then eventually memorizing it as the week goes on, means that players are going to continue to get higher and higher scores as we optimize our builds and as we bring better strategies and better timing, better routes through this. It really calls back to my speedrunning history in Diablo 2 and a little bit in Diablo 4, where every one of these little decisions that you're making could be the difference between ranking top 1 on the leaderboards or just barely cracking through to that top 1,000. But we're honestly seeing a really great showing from the Necromancer here. We have 1 minute left. We've just about cracked 200,000 score. That's actually pretty impressive for this build. I think that Liam's doing a fantastic job showcasing what I think most Necro players' first experience is
Ja,
going
da
to be
sind auf jeden
walking
Fall
into this
Truhen,
content.
aber wie man sieht, hat
Oh, I
keine
can hear
Keys.
that you're proud for your necromancer. And guys, we just entered the room.
Die
Guys, you saw that there were a
Truhen
lot
werden
of
wahrscheinlich auch
chests,
einfach nur
but
Score geben.
still don't have the keys. The necromancer needs to go through the dungeon, search for the keys, probably search for the shrines, probably reset. The winning strategy here would be resetting the monsters once again, and probably you cannot open the chest, but you will be able to kill a lot of monsters and also increase the total amount, your current score. We are almost reaching
gleich ist
200k,
der
really close, and we
Run
have
vorbei.
10 seconds left. Looks good.
Oh,
Looks really, really good for a necromancer.
Come on,
See you
Necro, get
guys,
over
bye.
200k. Oh,
Und
and this is one of
Oh,
the issues that you run into. You know, if you've
vorbei.
already cleared out that
almost.
part of the dungeon, going back through it and kill, you know, there's no more monsters for you to kill. But a great showing for the Necromancer. And if you tell me a little bit more about the
632
screen that we're
Monster
looking at right
getötet.
here.
Ja,
We are looking on our result, total results screen. You can see here your total score. You can see here the amount of monsters
genau.
that you
Da
killed,
sieht man auch
all the
Play
elite
Again.
monsters that you
Kann
killed,
man
all
halt
the
direkt
bosses
wieder
that you
spielen,
defeated, all the information, and you
an seiner
also
Strategie
can see
arbeiten,
information
wo
about
man
what you
lieber
reached,
lang
which
geht,
seal you reached. And our necromancer,
welche
yeah,
Gegner man holt,
Makro was absolutely right here. Our
welche
necromancer
Bosse in
was
welcher
showing
Reihenfolge.
insanely good gameplay. Seal of the Worthy. This is the highest seal that you can reach as a player. Tell us more about the seals. What you can say. I know that there are 4 of them. How are they gonna work?
So you start all the way down from Seal of the Blooded and then all the way up to Seal of the Worthy. What this basically means is that just running through the gauntlet at all is going to get you that first seal, but you're going to have to crack through higher and higher amounts of total score to rank up to the highest seal. The reason why you want to do that, it's not just bragging rights, as much as the majority of this truly is, but at the end of the week, not only are you going to get a cash just for running the gauntlet every time, you know, a small amount of items just to say like, hey, good job, you spent your time. But on top of that, if you actually reach the end of the week and you've reached the Seal of the Worthy, you're going to get all of the caches for the 4 seals below that. You're going to get automatic 925 item power that can be ancestral legendaries. It can even increase all the way up to a unique. So it's a much better incentive for people who don't just care about the ego part of it. You know, they're like, hey, I participate. I want to get some out of
Also
it.
man
You
kann
do
wohl
too. And being able to
ja
get that loot at the end of the week
seine
is that nice
Siege
little cherry on top.
aufstufen, wenn man
Yeah, and I think that we are ready.
halt
Our
hohe
second
Scores
player
über die Woche
gonna be
macht.
joined really, really soon by
Und wenn
the
man,
Ball Lightning
also am Ende der
Sorceress,
Woche
guys.
kriegt man
John
dann
Constable,
wohl
Senior Gameplay Engineer,
ja
gonna be
Gear,
showing us the sorceress
abhängig von dem Siege,
sorceress
was
count.
man erreicht hat.
Let's go.
Gibt es halt diese
I
4
hope. Yeah,
verschiedenen
we are starting,
Ränge,
guys.
Siege,
We are
die sie genannt
entering
haben.
once again our gauntlet. Once again, guys, the same map, the same big boss is waiting for you right
So, und
now.
jetzt zeigen sie diesen
Also,
zweiten
our
Run,
sorceress
diesmal mit
choosing
einer
the
Mage.
same gameplay, the same decision was made, skipping the first boss, moving further
Selber
into the
Dungeon, selbe
dungeon,
Mobs,
trying
gleiche
to
Stelle.
get the second boss, probably some pillars.
Eben war der
That's an
Score fast
interesting
200.000.
strategy here. And guys,
Mal sehen,
this is a
ob
Ball Lightning Sorceress.
die Mage
This
das
is
mehr
community
schafft.
beloved build that in Season 2, I don't know, absolutely everyone was playing Ball Lightning Sorceress. But I don't know. Probably now everyone will be playing Incinerate Sorceress because Incinerate was buff. But yeah, here we have Ball Lightning and Ball Lightning
Dieser
using
Kugelblitz-Bild war irgendwie in Season 2 plötzlich komplett
damage with the multiple
stark.
power of the multiple elements.
Seitdem wird er sehr gerne gespielt.
Here we go. One more boss is here.
The best part about, I mean, there's going to be strengths and weaknesses
schon
to
2
every
Bosse
build,
getötet.
right? You're probably going to end up seeing a meta where there are builds that only care about clearing out the trash, that are primarily focused on getting those bosses dead and getting those shrines, because the shrines are going to give you power, obviously. They're also going to give you movement speed. I wouldn't be surprised if sneaking in some shrine duration buff onto either your amulet or your boots ends up being really powerful in the Gauntlet here. That's a quick little pro tip from your boy. But there's not necessarily one right way to do this. On top of that, every class, every ladder that you're in is actually judged individually. So the necromancers are going to be judged against other necromancers, sorceresses against other sorceresses, so on and so forth. So
Genau,
where
jetzt
some
hat
builds may
man
not have the
gesehen,
mobility, but they
die
have
Match
the
hat da
boss
einen
kill
Key
speed, or
und
maybe
hat
they have
halt
the
die Truhe
density
geöffnet.
clearing, but not the mobility. The exact
Dann war
strategy
halt
for
jetzt
each
kein Loot an
individual
sich drin,
class
sondern
is going
gab
to
wahrscheinlich
really make or
Score.
break
Da
what
ich jetzt
ends
nicht
up
so
being
drauf
the meta
geachtet.
for the Gauntlet, which is one of the things that I think is the most interesting about this. Whereas things like the Abattoir of Zir really just pushed us to the question of how do you do the
Der
most damage and survive the
Sprecher
most
da
damage.
redet gerade über
Here, some of
Leaderboard,
those considerations aren't really as
dass
important.
halt
We're playing a different game at
ja,
this point.
Matches mit
But
Matches
the ball lady
verglichen
sorceress,
werden
like
bei
amazing
diesem
mobility,
Leaderboard
great density
und
clearing.
Necromancer
You
mit
notice that slowed
Necromancer,
down a little bit against that
dass halt
boss,
jeder Klasse sein
though.
eigenes
Depending on
Leaderboard
the
hat.
scenario, this might be one of those builds where you basically ignore the bosses whenever possible, unless they have a particularly
Gibt da
juicy
gleich auch
shrine that you
Leaderboards
really
halt
want to be able to
entsprechend
use
für
moving
Solo,
through.
Duo,
But here we have the
Yeah,
increased
absolutely.
favor
halt
drops. We got the
entsprechender
reset there, so
Gruppengröße
he's actually able to pop right back into that room where he just got a shrine, kill
für
this boss
Softcore,
again.
Hardcore.
It's just really interesting to see what kind of meta is going to develop as we get further and further into the season.
Und man
Yeah,
sieht
here
jede
we
Menge
see.
Zahlen.
Actually, yeah, our sorceress is going pretty good. Yeah, on the bosses. Probably, yeah, it's worth it to stay here again to spam the pylon and to use the power of the pylon. And guys, gonna tell you a little secret. You better not die in the Gauntlet. Hardcore players, yeah, I understand, but for softcore players, if you're gonna die, you're gonna lose the third of your score. You're gonna respawn in the dungeon. You will be able to pick up your score, but only if you will run back to the place where you died. And yeah, this is again, you're wasting way too much time if you're dying in the Gauntlet. Here,
Also wenn
once
man
again,
hier
our
diesen Dungeon
sorceress,
stirbt,
by the way,
dann
current score,
verliert
our
man halt
sorceress
ein Drittel
is 1K,
vom Score.
a little bit. We just reached 1K, going
Man kann dann halt zur Leiche laufen und diesen Score wieder aufsammeln,
further into the dungeon. One more
aber
island is
kann
waiting
halt
for us,
Zeitverschwendung
and
sein.
I
Also,
want the chest. I
dass dann
want
halt
someone to finally
Highscore
open the
dadurch
chest.
nicht mehr schaffst.
But yeah, so far no one can get the key. The keys are quite rare. Only special monsters are dropping them. Here we go. 4 minutes left.
Yeah, so just over the halfway point, it does look like the sorceress, their natural mobility. I mean, she could teleport, right? That's obviously going to go a little bit faster than somebody running on their two legs, but already doing a really good showing. We're definitely going to crack over that 200K, probably closer to like maybe 300, depending on whether or not he turns on the turbo boosters here. But you're talking about those keys, and maybe I'm just going to spitball this while we're watching here. My mind's kind of already going crazy, theory crafting, trying to figure out what's going to be the best way here. But to be able to open up these chests, like you said, you have to kill specific monsters in the dungeon. They will drop the key. Now, there's the regular chest, there's a golden chest. Obviously, big gold chest, worth more points. But the interesting part here is that how valuable is that for you in your current route is going to completely depend on where you went first. Do you zerg your way all the way up to that key, knowing that you passed by a gold chest in your typical, fully optimized route? Or is that just not part of your strategy at all? There's an interesting dichotomy there where it's just like, depending on where the keys are spawning on the monsters in that week's Gauntlet, maybe they are huge, maybe they're pivotal to how you can actually get the highest score possible. Or you kind of have to make the decision, a couple seconds left in your run, you're like, hey, I got 1 or 2 keys, I see a couple normal chests coming up, I know I'm not going to be able to reach the gold chests, since those are in the same spots as well. I'm going to make that mad dash, I'm going to get back up into there, get those 2 little chests, sure, that's like good enough for me on this run. But being able to make those decisions in the heat of the moment, or at least at first, when everybody doesn't necessarily have their best route already mapped out at that point, is going to be where those like small little spikes in score. I'm really, really excited to see the leaderboard as it develops.
So, da war nur eine kleine Truhe, so eine goldene Truhe bringt halt mehr. Deswegen
on that same leaderboard, but you're not
hat die
necessarily
Person
going to
jetzt
know
wahrscheinlich
how
auch
they
diese
ran through it,
Truhe
how they prioritize
gelassen.
killing bosses versus the elites, etc. So there's still going to be a little bit of mystery, but at the very least, you should be able to copy the build if you can at least see the gear that they
Auch wieder
have.
eine kleine Truhe, keine goldene.
I think there's going to be a lot of mystery. Actually, how we see it right now, it's really a lot about your strategy and not that much. Yeah, Your build obviously will be super important. How quick are you? How quick you can kill the big groups of monsters? How quick you can kill the bosses? But your strategy, I think this will be the key. Your path through this dungeon, this will be deciding. And yes, the leaderboard will be moving from day one, and on the very last day, someone gonna sneak in and will be the top of the leaderboard. Yep, interesting times ahead. Our sorceress, guys, closing almost 200k, and we entered this beautiful room with a lot of chests. We had 2 keys. We opened one chest. We opened the second chest. We are getting a lot of points. We are really close
Genau, und
to
jetzt wurden die großen
200k,
Truhen geöffnet.
and we are moving forward.
Und
White
da sind wir
chest
wieder
and
bei
yellow
fast
chest, they
200.000
both
Score.
actually cost only 1 key to open. But obviously the yellow chests, they are bigger, they are shiny, they are giving you way more points. So yeah, you need to focus, you need to prioritize if you can, you need to prioritize the yellow chests. We reached 208k, 43 seconds left.
Und wie
The
gesagt,
other thing that I just really
jede
want to
Woche
hammer on here
ändert
is
sich der
again, so
Dungeon.
this sorceress's score,
Innerhalb
although
der
it's going
Woche
to be a
bleibt er
little bit
gleich.
higher than the necros that we just saw, not by a country mile or anything,
Ja, also
but
ganze Woche
this
Zeit,
score is
sich eine
insular to
Strategie
this one
auszudenken,
leaderboard. The sorceress's score is only going
das
to be
Ding immer
compared
wieder
against everybody else
abzulaufen
running the sorceress. While you can check your ego and check against
und
the other
möglichst den
necromancers,
Highscore
that has
herzuholen.
no impact at all looking at any other class about how you're going to rank in that leaderboard, whether or not you're going to be immortalized in the halls forever if you hit that top 10 rank.
Und
But on
da
top
gab
of
es wieder einen
that, it's
Schlüssel.
not going to impact this, like the rewards that you get or anything like that. You just need to worry about what every other sorceress in this game is doing. If you're in a party, you only need to worry about what those
Und
other party
vorbei.
sizes are doing. It's probably my favorite part about this. You know, while there's going to be differences between the classes, I only
Genau.
need to worry about
Und
my
die Person
class.
hatte auch diesen
But
Rang
perfect.
ab
Sorry, I was
mit
gammering
diesen
on here.
Siege
We got another Seal of the Worthy
der
completion,
Würdigen,
over 200k score, 7 bosses, 39 elite monsters,
was dann das
654
Höchste ist,
monsters.
und man dann
If
halt
I could
am Ende der
ask for
Woche
anything,
anscheinend
I'd love
die
to see
höchste
these
Belohnung
kind of stats
kriegt,
basically at the
die
end of
man
all
kriegen
content
kann.
in the game. Maybe I'm asking for too much, but seeing those numbers
Genau.
like itches some really good part in my min-max brain there.
Yeah, it's really nice to see actually what I accomplished, how many poor demonic souls I sent back to hell. Yeah, I can understand. And we got the reward immediately after each time when you're entering the Gauntlet, you're gonna be getting a small reward, and you're gonna be getting a big
So, und
reward
gleich
in
kommt
the
noch ein
end
dritter
of
ran
each week, depending which
von noch
seal
einer anderen
you
Person.
We are,
Und
I
dann
think we are preparing
kommt die
our third player.
Information
We're preparing
für Season 4.
and he's almost ready. He's gonna be joining
Wird
us
wahrscheinlich nicht
with
viel,
a
aber ich bin
Barbarian, with a
gespannt,
quarter charge,
was
but
zu
I
Season 4
know
sagt.
everyone wanna see it, so he's gonna be crushing
Aber
it
wie gesagt,
pretty
erstmal
soon.
der dritte ran.
Yeah,
Charge
guys?
Hoda Barb. That is like that's going to be season 3. Season 3 is going to be Charge Hoda Barb. We could just put that up on a banner somewhere.
Anscheinend
We could take down the construct
ein
symbol and just put
Barbar.
Charge Hoda smashing through the game. No, but Leviathan's
Letzter
an
kommt.
absolute legend from the community. Fun fact about Leviathan: we actually lived in the same city for like a grip, and we just never got the chance to actually sync up. But just like you, we were able to meet him at BlizzCon. He's a phenomenal dude. Shout outs to Leviathan. But it looks like we're actually ready. So let's go ahead and hop into it.
Yep,
Enough sharing,
we're going.
anecdotal stories. Let's see this Hoda Barb.
Und da ist der
Big
dritte ran.
boy, big sword.
Let's
I'm
see.
excited for this.
Let's see.
Und
Yeah,
der
he is
just
not
doing
skipping the
Hoda
first
Barb
boss.
things.
lässt diesen ersten Boss nicht
No, he
aus, er macht ihn
decided that
direkt.
Yep,
15
easy.
million overpower was the way he wanted to approach this scenario. But the Charge Hoda Barb, so this is,
Ja,
I
und
think
da
this is
sieht man
kind
auch
of
Charge in
like
Action.
the apex
Hatten sie
predator
ja
of this
relativ
type
am
of
Anfang gesagt,
content.
dass sie
We
überlegt
are
haben,
working with
Charge
a
zu
mobility
nerven,
skilling charge
was
that
sie aber
is
nicht
going to be able
machen.
to clear the trash for you. You have giant Hoda smashes so that you can bring down bosses quickly, as long as he has all of his buffs going up. And basically being able to meld these two concepts together is what every class build strategy is ultimately going to have to look for. Maybe you're running double mobility aspects, both one on your boots and one on your amulet, as opposed to worrying about putting another damage aspect there. Because again, remember, these monsters
Ja,
are only
dass man
level
da mit
124.
Charge viel Schaden
Means that
macht
they're
und halt
30 levels
jetzt
lower
da auch
than
noch,
any tier
also
100
damit auch
content you're
Movement
doing.
hat.
And I figured this guy was about to get two-shot.
Das ist
He's
auf jeden
throwing up a little
Fall
bit more of
gut
a
für
fight
diesen
here.
Dungeon.
Let's see. There we go, Leviathan. GG. Big channeling shrine,
Yeah.
more mobility, not worrying about resource. This is
Geht ja
this
doch
is
um
what
viel
we're
zu
looking
töten
for
und
in
schnell
Gauntlet
durchzukommen.
content. This power. Jeez. All right, calm down. We need something to be able to talk about here, Leviathan, my boy.
No, he's absolutely smashing, he's absolutely destroying, but like this, if you're not
Da
gonna
kommt auf
plan,
jeden Fall
you'll
sehr
soon
gut
run out
durch.
of the monsters. You need to focus on where actually the shrines that are resummoning the monsters are. And yeah, hopefully he has the plan. Yep, he's absolutely flying through this dungeon, picking up everything. His score already 64k, quite insane. And yeah, I believe in our Leviathan. Leviathan, by the way, he was one of the best demon hunters that there is in
Ja, liebe
Diablo 3
Barbaren
back
da
in the
draußen,
days.
schreibt doch gerne
And
mal,
now
ob ihr euch auch auf
absolutely
diesen Gauntlet freut.
understandable why he's smashing also on this barbarian here. And
Da ist auf jeden Fall die Konkurrenz fürs Leaderboard.
Also really, really cool that you need to obviously memorize the map. You need to memorize where all the monsters are. You need to memorize where the shrines are. What we have here, apparently all the shrines that are resummoning the monsters, the shrines that are giving you also extra score, they're located mostly in one part of the dungeon, and the chests are located in the other part of the dungeon. So yeah, guys, there's gonna be a lot of planning, a lot of strategizing here.
Something interesting to note. All right, I'm going to get a little bit deep on details here, because I assume most people haven't studied how shrines work in this game enough to know the numbers off the top of their head. But basically what you're looking at is a 30-second buff that is also going to give you 35% movement speed. The cool part about shrines is that each one of them can layer on top with other unique shrines. So you could have a channeling shrine as well as a blast wave shrine, as well as an artillery shrine, etc., etc. But getting the same shrine again doesn't actually do anything for you. While it's going to reset that 30-second timer, it's not like you have double blast wave and double movement speed. So when we saw that loop where he actually came back through and immediately killed that boss again, while it makes sense, he knows it's there, he knows it's worth a lot of good score, that doesn't necessarily mean
jetzt
he got
reden sie noch
the
über
total
Schreine.
benefit out of that single shrine. And being
Sind
able
auf jeden
to
Fall auch
basically,
wichtig für den Highscore.
lily hopper, like, you know, frog hop over these shrines, always
Aber
maintaining at least one
das müsste man
constant
sich
buff
nochmal
for
genau
them,
angucken,
might be a
inwiefern.
way of being able to add on mobility to a build that doesn't normally have it. So maybe you're a huge boss killer, but you can't fit mobility anywhere. As long as you can plan out how often you get these shrines,
Also haben
you
auf
could
jeden Fall gesagt, wenn
effectively
man
link together a full 8 minutes of
denselben
shrine
Schrein halt
buff,
normal
maybe
klickt,
even
dann
longer.
kriegt man halt den
Geez,
Buff
like there's so many
nicht nochmal
things that
oben
you keep
drauf, also
picking
dass
out of
man
here,
den
right?
doppelten Effekt hat,
Stopping at
sondern
individual
nur,
little
dass
monster packs
halt
to make sure that you're
die
maintaining your buffs.
Effektdauer
So even if
wieder
you're not
auf 3
necessarily killing
Sekunden
them or they're not high
zurückgesetzt wird.
value, you know that you're going to be
Also
operating
der
at
Buff hält
maximum
3
efficiency
Sekunden
when you
und
walk
wenn du
into
den
the
zweiten
next
davon
room,
anklickst,
where we
dann
always
geht
will
er
know
wieder
there will
hoch
be
auf
an
3
elite monster,
Sekunden.
or there will always be a boss monster in one of these tiles here. My brain is going crazy right now. The more that I see from this content, it's just like so exciting to have something to like really strive
Jetzt werden
for
wieder die
in
großen
this
Truhen
game,
geöffnet.
right? We got the gear, we finished all of our farming, all of our grinding. What do we do with it? Well, here's what we do with it. Now we actually have something to test those builds, to re-theory craft on top of. Not to mention all the changes coming in this patch alone. I'm gonna have to rethink all of the builds I
Genau,
was expecting
normal
to be able
das
to bring into here and
Endgame-Content,
test them. That's probably
um
the
halt
biggest
das
the
vorhandene
biggest
Gear
chagrin I
und
got is,
halt
geez, I
das
gotta come up with all
Bild
brand new
zu
builds to
testen,
incorporate the
was man
vampire
rausholen kann,
powers as well as whatever changes actually
und sich
come
halt
with
mit
like
den
the build
Besten zu
skills
vergleichen auf
themselves
dem
as well.
Leaderboard.
I can hear that Macro is starting theory crafting already right now. He's already talking
Und der
here,
Papa
I'm
hat jetzt
turning
schon über
left, here I'm turning
200.000
right,
Score.
here I'm touching this. We already in the process of creating the guide how to do it. Our barbarian 217k total amount of proofs of might, going really, really strong. It was actually really, really cool. We were already saying that every character has the separate leaderboard. Also, every character, the amount of score, the total score, the amount proofs of worth that you need
Es
to
sieht auf jeden
earn
Fall
to
lustig
be
aus.
able to reach different seals. Also
Aber erstmal zum
different
Endgame kommen, weil man noch gar nicht
different
angefangen hat in
characters.
dieser
This is
Season.
absolutely amazing because you don't have to compete with different classes in absolutely any way. And this is great. You also have 2-place leaderboard, 3-place leaderboard, 4-place leaderboard. In total, together with the hardcore, we're getting 16
Aber noch
leaderboards here.
genug andere
Yeah,
Spiele, die ich zurzeit
amazing. And
spiele.
it's all coming already next week. There gonna be a lot of fun here. Leviathan is moving really, really quick. We have 2 minutes left. We are hitting 236k. He is going on the second run. Basically, he is going again, repeating again his run, but he resetted all the monsters. So he has here really, really good choice. He did really good choices, and he had really good chances.
That's a secret substat that I wish we could see on this board. How many total miles or kilometers have you run through this individual gauntlet? Because I'm pretty sure Leviathan has cleared this thing out already 3 times over, and he's still got a cool 1.5 minutes left on the timer here. Definitely going to crack over 300k as long as he doesn't hit a dry patch.
Genau, so ein
where
bisschen
nothing had
läuft er
been
im Kreis
respawned
und
yet. But I mean,
tötet die
the
Gegner
dude's
mal
great at what he
wieder,
does. There's a
resettet die
reason
durch
why
besondere
you anchor
Schreine.
him here, being able to show off the best of the best.
Hat den Boss jetzt ja anscheinend schon zum dritten
And
Mal
the other
getötet.
interesting part, something that we didn't quite touch on, is you don't just get
Steht
the
wieder eine große
rewards
Truhe.
from one ladder. There's nothing stopping you from going and doing this on your barbarian, doing this on your alternate necromancer, doing this in multiple group types. You could theoretically hit the top of every single ladder. If you're, you know, a crazy master grinder like Wudijo, maybe you go crack softcore and hardcore ladder too. Why not? There's nothing stopping you from competing in as many of these arenas as you have builds.
Ja, und für die Leute, die Langeweile haben,
that
können das
competitive
auf
nature.
verschiedenen Klassen
I'm
machen
only
und
going to worry about the necromancer. I don't have it in my
mit
brain
allen
to think
Klassen
about a single
Platz
other
1
class
holen.
with how much I need to worry about theory crafting this one. But I'm wondering who's going to be able to like collect
Man
the
wird nicht
most
aufgehalten,
top leaderboard
an
spots.
verschiedenen Leaderboards
eating them
auf
all
Platz
up.
1 zu sein.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that's gonna be the new community challenge. Be able to be #1 on 16 leaderboards. Okay, I'm wondering who that's gonna be now when
Es gibt wohl 16 Leaderboards,
in the
halt
game.
mit den verschiedenen
We have,
Gruppengrößen
guys,
und die
10, a
verschiedenen
little bit more
Klassen.
than 10 seconds left. We're gonna hit
Come on,
300k. I'm
Leviathan.
pretty
Hardcore,
sure.
Softcore,
300k,
Come on,
boy.
wird's
come on,
gleich auch eine
fight
Unterscheidung
That's what we
geben.
need to see.
someone.
He did too good. He
Almost,
killed
almost.
everything already. Oh,
Almost.
so close, boss.
Almost.
So
So
close.
close.
Eieiei, fast 300.000. Also Barbar im Vergleich zu den anderen Klassen auf jeden Fall.
881
Baller
monsters,
am
53
besten.
elites, 9
Aber wie
bosses.
gesagt, jede Klasse hat
Obviously
seinen
the most
eigenen
that we saw out
Leaderboard.
of any showing.
Das heißt,
But
Necromancer
phenomenal
muss
job
sich
here
nicht
by
mit einem Barbaren
Leviathan, as
vergleichen,
always. It's exactly what we expected from him.
was auf jeden Fall gut ist.
Yep, had absolutely zero doubts. Macro, I must say, I'm really excited, and I really like that you can get not only the rewards that we're getting, it's a weekly activity. We're getting the new map absolutely every single week, and we're getting the rewards in the end of every single week. We're also getting the rewards after every single run. And yep, I'm happy that the people who are probably not seduced by the leaderboards will be anyway tempted to try it and to see maybe the leaderboard, maybe the gauntlet is something for them. Interesting. Really excited about what's waiting for us in the next week. What are you excited
Da werden
about
Leute
gauntlet
schon
content?
verrückte Sachen
I
machen.
mean, if I had to pick just one thing, it really comes down to this idea of developing a strategy over a week. You know, we realize, right, you know, as content creators, as streamers,
Und
we have a bit of privilege here.
Denk dran,
The funny part being
kommt am
that
Dienstag,
everybody's going to be
den
able to
5.
watch your
März raus.
strategies. If you're making videos about it, if you're going over strategies, discussing it, basically it's out there. It's open for people to be able to see. So being able to come up with these
Wahrscheinlich
maybe
für
a
morgen
little
kommt der
secret
Patch
strategy,
gegen
maybe you
19
save
Uhr
it till just the last couple
und direkt nach dem
days
Patch
and you actually finally
solltet ihr
test it
starten
out.
können.
That's probably what's going to be the most exciting for me. It's just this idea of it's not just about damage. It's not just about stats on your gear. It's how good of a plan can you actually create, and how well can you execute on it, which like truly tests the player's skill in a way that the other content in the game just currently doesn't offer. But I think that's just going to go ahead and do it for us.
So,
This has been such a pleasure.
genau,
Thank
das
you
war
very much
genug.
for, you know, sharing this
Sagt
with
jetzt
me.
noch
I hope that
was
everybody
von
really
Season
enjoyed
4,
what they
bitte?
saw here.
I actually hope so too. And yeah, macro theory crafter here, absolutely. Had zero doubts that you're gonna say this. Guys, it was an incredible pleasure to be here. Was really happy to comment on our first gauntlet. I'm Anna Cake Live. I don't know, follow, like, and subscribe. And Macro, you wanna say something? You wanna add something?
Yeah. And again, my name is Macro Bioboy. Macro Bioboy on everything. If you care, see me go try to
Guckt gerne
smash
bei
the
den
neck
beiden
into this
vorbei.
gauntlet. Thank you again to everybody. It was an absolute honor here. I think we're going to go ahead and throw it back to
Sind
Adam and everybody in the
öfter
studio.
mit Diablo
Hope
4
everybody enjoyed seeing the
online.
gauntlet, and I can't wait to see you all out there next week.
Vor allem, wenn ihr Englisch versteht und Diablo
Awesome.
mögt,
Thank you so much,
guckt gerne vorbei.
Macro,
Yeah.
Anna, for taking us
great.
through that. Of course, our 3 volunteers from the dev team. We got John, we got Steven, and Liam for running through.
Yeah, everybody great. Yeah.
Steven actually hit, actually all of them hit higher scores than they did when we were first running through this.
They
So
did.
They were learning
Somebody
they were
practiced.
learning the dungeon because again, with Gauntlet, it is a weekly dungeon that does get changed
it's
over.
fixed. I mean, every spawn, every creature you come through, every chest location, every key drop, like every boss, every shrine, it's all fixed every time you do the runs, and that's what allows you to have that sense of like, okay, I know a little bit more about this space now. I can run it again. I'll do a little bit better.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference.
Ja,
Yeah, and I know
sagen
with
zum 20. Mal, was
we
dieser
saw
Content
some
ist.
questions of like players, are going like, hey, because we have 3 different classes here, and again, they're all on their own unique leaderboards themselves.
Yeah, every class has its own unique leaderboard. So when you're playing, Charged Barbarian for the season, you're playing against other barbarians, for
Wie gesagt, jede Klasse eigenes
But we also
Leaderboard.
have 2-player, 3-player, and 4-player leaderboards as well for players who want to get into parties and try to compete. So we think that's gonna be really exciting.
Yeah. And then I know in regards to rewards and stuff, like depending on the seal that you get, you'll actually get more caches, and the caches themselves offer up a 925 like ancestral that I believe is in each cache. So I believe if you get a seal of the worthy, you end up getting 4 each time. And these aren't exactly like the idea of Gauntlet itself is really aspirational. So there are opportunities for players themselves to, of course, earn themselves into the Hall of the Ancients each week, and then you're kind of added onto a permanent record, you could say, put it on your resume type of thing, of for forever for each week in the Hall of the Ancients, depending on
Genau,
where
wenn
you
du Rang
actually
1
land on
bist,
the
sollst du
leaderboard.
das
Yeah,
auf deine
we
Bewerbung
don't really want
schreiben.
to see the Gauntlet and the Trials feature as a place where players go to try to get gear for their builds.
Ich
Really more
war
of a
Woche
place where players
2
are gonna go once
Rang
they've got
1
like really good
Barbar.
builds put together to kind of try things out. But yeah, for players who do manage to
Kann
clear
man in die
for every
Bewerbung
seal they
schreiben.
manage to complete at the end of the week based on their highest ranking, they're going to get a cache like you called out. And there's a high chance of unique items actually appearing in these caches as well. So you can get 925 uniques out of these. But again, these are really like, more augmenting other things you've been collecting over the course of the season, not like being the primary reason that you're going to the space in the first place.
Yeah, and we actually have a blog that's going up after the stream that actually details out all the information in the Gauntlet, including some other rewards as well for players that hit like the really high ranks of where they can potentially earn some cosmetic.
Nach dem
items
Stream
as
gibt's
well
noch einen
for
Blogpost,
Gauntlet. So Gauntlet
wo
again
nochmal
hitting,
Details
next
vom
Tuesday.
Gauntlet
And I know
drinstehen.
for like the first couple weeks we want to make sure that players
Kann
are
man
jumping
nochmal alles
in, trying it
nachlesen.
out. Especially with these new changes that are coming with the mid-season update, the vampiric powers and everything like that. And then, let us know what you guys think, and then post up feedback on, Reddit, forums,
Alles zum
social
Mid-Season
media.
Update nächste
We're gonna be
Woche
checking it out
Dienstag.
for Gauntlet, making any tweaks if we need to make any tweaks. And then
Die
I know
Vampirischen
we
Mächte,
actually have a cool contest
Gauntlet
that's coming up
mit
here,
Leaderboard
starting on that's tied back to
Class
Gauntlet.
Balance.
It's actually starting on March 19th. We're calling it Leaderboard Legends, but the top players in each of the leaderboards, and there are, again, leaderboards for all the different classes, for all solo, and at the same time for hardcore as well. So if you play in hardcore and if you die in a Gauntlet, your character's gone. It is hardcore for that reason. So, but we will have opportunities for players to actually earn an exclusive art print from an artist named Mika Ulrich. He's a huge Diablo fan. He actually is making a customized art print. That contest itself will be running for 2 weeks. So we'll have more information on that contest as we get closer to March 19th. But players that do compete on the
Ja,
leaderboard,
Leute,
they'll have the
gibt
opportunity of
einen
actually
Wettbewerb
earning
mit diesem
a
Gauntlet,
exclusive, like,
wo
customized
ihr
art print as well, which is actually pretty
Kunst
cool.
gewinnen
So
könnt.
Gauntlet shipping next Tuesday, and it'll be in our
Der Wettbewerb
of course,
wird wahrscheinlich 2
mid-season
Wochen
patch
gehen.
notes that we have going up tomorrow. So and we have a blog going later today with a lot of stuff posting. So really cool
So much stuff happening.
Yes,
now here
exactly.
at the back end. Yeah.
One thing we did want to
Und
hit
morgen
on,
wird's die Patch
and this
Notes
is
geben.
some pretty big news from our end. One is it's an update regarding season 4, and I know Joe.
Yeah,
Endlich
wanted to
Season
talk a little
4.
bit about it.
So I'm very excited. So we've been talking about season 4 a little bit, but like leading up to the release of season 3, I mentioned some things about season 4. We know there's gonna be a lot of changes being made in that season. You may recall, for some of you've been around since the launch of the game, we had some streams after season 1 went live. We talked a little bit about some of the changes we wanted to make in season 2. And we'll remember that, like, vulnerable damage to vulnerable targets was like an extremely powerful stat, an all-encompassing stat, really, in that part of the game. And we had to go back and we really wanted to take a harder and longer look at that, look at overpower some other things, and try to get the game into a better place. There were just more viable stats for players to proceed with. And that was a good amount of work, I think, that we can
Yeah, it
suggest. And
was.
yeah, it was a really great impact on the game overall, but it was, there's some work involved. Season 4 goes well beyond like the scope and scale and changes that we made in Season 2, particularly with regards to things like our stats, attributes, and the way that rewards work. So while there were a lot of things that we did in Season 2, and we're really happy with a lot of things in Season 2 as a result, there was a much better version and expression of the game experience overall. We have a lot more planned in Season 4, and the team has been hard at work for months and months working on a lot of these things on the side.
Okay, Sie haben
So
viel geplant für
Season 3
Season
came
4.
out, we had some changes with it. I think it's gone very, very well. There's a lot of really fun stuff in Season 3. Season 4 is going to be responding to a lot more of the reward concerns that players have, a lot of things with regards to itemization, and other things we're not going to talk about just yet. But the news that we actually wanted to talk about today is that we're going to be opening up a PTR for Season 4 so that we can get a chance to let the community come in and test it extensively before the content actually goes live. When
Okay, es
Season
geht
4
um
launches.
Änderungen
So it'll be coming up,
an
while Season 3 is
Gear,
still active.
Belohnungen,
The Season 4 PTR will go live, and players get a chance to check that
Stats.
out and give us the feedback. And if they
Und
find
es wird einen
issues and
Testserver
balance
geben,
things, and we'll get a chance to kind of interpret all that and make some changes
damit
as
man
we
das
go.
halt testen kann und Feedback geben
Yeah,
kann.
and I know players themselves have been asking, hey, how can we make Diablo a better experience? We want to be a part of it. It's something that the team here has most definitely heard. As Joe mentioned, there's a ton of changes, especially around itemization that are coming into Season 4. So the team here really did feel a need for a PTR for players to jump in, try it out, provide their feedback while Season 3 is still active, of course, because we want to make sure that players are jumping in before Season 4 actually does start. And
Sie sehen
giving us
für
that
Season
feedback
4
so we can
halt
make
diese
any type of
Notwendigkeit
tweaks
von
and changes from
Testserver,
our end. And
damit
I know the
diese
team here has been
Änderungen
doing a
halt
lot of
getestet
work
werden
to
können,
incorporate a
damit sie
PTR
Feedback sammeln können.
into Diablo 4, especially for the first time. And so what we will say is like PTR, of course, will be before Season 4 starts. We'll actually have more information here in the coming weeks. We're actually going to have another Campfire Chat specifically focused around PTR and the content that you'll be playing in PTR. So it's kind of, it will be a little bit of a reveal of what you'll be experiencing in Season 4 as well. So it's going to be...
There'll be some things we'll hold on to talk about a little
Some
closer to
things we'll
Season
hold
4
on.
launch.
Not-
Es
but
wird
not-
nochmal so
not
einen
every-
Campfire-Chat geben
huge
in
amount of
Zukunft,
stuff.
There's gonna be a lot,
Huge
so.
amount of stuff to talk about.
wo es
for
dann
Season 4 then.
And I will
entsprechend
say it will be we're already talking about it. And
um
going,
das
wow,
geht,
it's
was auf dem
gonna be a
Testserver zu
pretty
testen
beefy
gibt.
Campfire Chat coming up here in the next couple of weeks. We'll have more info soon. But and
das
one
halt
thing
in den
that we
nächsten
did want to
Wochen.
note is it is just PC BattleNet to be as agile as we want to be with the changes on PTR. PC BattleNet was the best option for us. So players on PC BattleNet will be able to experience the PTR themselves.
Genau, und der Testserver
And
wird
I will
auf
say
dem
with
PC
PTR,
über
because of the
Battle.net
changes that are coming
erreichbar
with
sein.
Season 4 and the amount of changes, as I said, the team felt like, hey, we need a PTR to make sure this happens. Does that mean we'll have a PTR every single season? Maybe not. It depends on the scale of changes that we have, but for Season 4, we most definitely
Es
plan
wird
on
nicht
having a
unbedingt
PTR,
einen
and so we'll have news on that really
Testserver
soon.
für jede
So
Season
we're really
geben.
excited that players can jump
Aber
in,
für Season
provide
4
feedback. I know it's a long-awaited thing
ist
that
auf jeden
people
Fall
have been going like,
notwendig.
oh, we would love to be able to jump in and provide some
Yeah,
feedback
absolutely. I
early
mean,
on.
I've been playing Season 4 internally for weeks at this point, leveling up character from 1-100, and it's a blast.
Also
I'm
Änderungen
really
komplett
looking
am
forward
Gear,
to
an
getting
den
more
ganzen
feedback
Belohnungen
and, like, thoughts, just
wird
getting more
schon
eyeballs and some of the
groß
stuff that
werden.
we
Ich bin
planned. It's
gespannt, was
gonna
da
be very,
genau
very cool.
kommt.
Awesome. So yeah, like I said, we'll be back here in the next few weeks. We'll have information on when that Campfire Chat will be for PTR and all the information that you guys will be experiencing in that PTR specifically. So, and because I know like not everyone has experienced a PTR, I probably should define what a PTR is.
Yeah.
It is a public test realm.
Also ich
It
werde
is
es mir auf jeden Fall
the
angucken.
ability of players being able to jump
Campfire Chat
into
werde ich auch wieder
a
gucken,
earlier build
was halt
and
einen
kind of like
erwartet
test it out. Think
bei
of
diesem
it like
Testserver.
almost like a mini beta test of some sort to experience content that is coming down the line so that they can actually provide feedback over to us. And then we can make changes before things do go live. We've had PTRs for Diablo 2, we've had PTRs for Diablo 3, and of course now we have PTRs for Diablo 4. So really excited for that. And again, we'll be back in a couple weeks to talk about that.
Right.
We'll now jump into Q&A.
Let's do it.
So
Let's do
yeah,
it.
we know that a lot of people have questions, and we'll try to get through as many as possible. And then we'll remind everyone, at the end of the stream of like checking out the site for all the Gauntlet information and stuff like
So,
that.
that's
We
doch
can't get to stuff.
Vlogs going
Kleine
live.
Vlogs
Fragen
going
und
on.
Antworten.
So I know one
Sektion.
question that we've seen a lot, at least within the community, is regarding the changes in 1.3.2 with the
Wo
crafting
die
changes, the
Community halt
the
Fragen stellen
ability of
kann
being able to craft
und halt ausgewählte
unique.
Fragen
And
werden
we've seen some
beantwortet.
feedback from players related to that, especially related to
Genau,
like
und ob es
resplendent
halt zu
sparks, how
diesen
many are required for them.
Über-Uniques
I know you guys wanted to talk about
Updates
that really
gibt.
quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll jump into this first, right? So for the uninitiated in 1.3.2 in our last patch, we put in the ability for players to be able to craft these unique items of their choice once they were
Genau, seit dem letzten Patch gibt es ja
they
die
require
Möglichkeit,
resplendent sparks to do
Über-Uniques
so.
halt
And
zu
you get
craften.
resplendent sparks by finding another uber unique, which are very rare, salvage them, and then that gives you the one material that you need. Now at launch, you need 5 resplendent sparks in order to craft one of these uber uniques. In the next patch, where this is going to be where the Gauntlet's going live and the trial system is going live, we're going to be reducing that from 5 to 4. Now, why did we choose these numbers? So alongside those changes that we made as part of that last release, we also dramatically increased the drop rate
im
of
Patch
Uber
am
Uniques
Dienstag
from non-Durial sources. So while
setzen
Durial
die
gives you a fairly steady
benötigten
drop rate,
Materialien
it's still
runter,
low,
die man
obviously.
braucht,
It's
um
hard to
so einen
find Uber-Unique items in general.
Über-Unique
They're
herzustellen.
very rare and very powerful. It was exceptionally rare, as I think most players would understand, to find Uber Uniques outside of the encounter of Uber Durial, which is one of the reasons why Uber Durial is so popular. We did dramatically increase that drop rate chance. It's still very rare, right? So you're not going to be seeing it all the time, but we are seeing a dramatic uptick in the number of Uber Uniques that are dropping throughout the game as a result of this. So why go from, if we heard some of the concerns about the number 5, why would we go from just a 20% reduction to 4? So we are seeing more of these Uber Uniques dropping across the board, as I suggested. And this is sort of us beginning to get a sense of how players are interacting with these features as we start looking towards Season 4. So in terms of like the number of Uber Uniques that are dropping, the way that players are engaging with various parts of the game overall to like farm up these items, we're seeing some changes in patterns, which is really cool. We just want to let things evolve a little bit and see how things proceed. And as we kind of get into Season 4, we'll be looking at making potentially further adjustments based upon reception and how we see the numbers actually doing. Yeah. We still want Uber Uniques to remain in a spot where they are very aspirational. They're not expected for every build to have them in order for them to come online and feel fun. Obviously, players really want them. You want them for your characters. They're really potent. But they shouldn't be the thing that is enabling you to really do something fun with your class. It's an extra layer on top of your class once you've managed to get one.
Awesome. Question that we have here is, are
nächste
we
Frage.
getting any endgame content in season? I'm sorry, I was supposed to read the name.
Oh God,
Hey,
here
you
we go
don't
again.
put your names, it doesn't count.
Jucklax asks.
Jucklax?
Jucklax.
Or Juck with a J.
Juck with a J.
I'm sure everyone's really happy that we're spending all this time on this. Go ahead.
Very important.
Are we getting any endgame content in season 4?
So I'm not allowed to talk about Season 4 today, but I would recommend that you definitely check out the PTR stream when we start talking about a lot of the content players are going to get a chance to
Ja,
test
die Frage
as
war,
part
ob's
of that PTR release.
Endgame-Content in Season 4
A
dazu
lot of
kommt.
stuff that's going to be happening, particularly for endgame players.
Und sie dürfen heute nicht drüber reden.
There's a
Aber
question regarding Gauntlet.
Sie empfehlen, nächste Campfire Chat zu gucken.
So, congratulations. We have a question from Globusnus. That was, why is the level difficulty only Nightmare 70 for the Gauntlet?
Yes. So we wanted to make sure that Gauntlet content felt something players could start trying to dig into immediately upon
Die
entering
Frage
the
ist,
World Tier
warum
4. Why did we do
die,
this?
dieser
We want players to be able
Gauntlet die
to,
Schwierigkeit
ramp
von
up through the content,
Nightmare Dungeon
as they're
Level
leveling up
70 hat.
through that last world tier. And we wanted to see how players were going to react to it, basically, as a result of that. Like, do players ever want to try playing through it at 85? Because when you're playing through the Gauntlet, there's the seals that I think were discussed during the playthrough. The players can earn based on the point scores you're able to get. If you're crushing those point scores, you're getting rewards for doing that. And it gives you that sense of progression as you go, and you get more and more of your gear online. You find more of the uniques you need. You manage to get you start getting your 925 items online. Like, a lot of your player power can come online as you get your glyphs leveled up and things. It doesn't mean that you need to wait to level at a very high level to be able to go do that content. So we want to make it available. And we also want to focus a little bit more on how quickly players can navigate the space, use shrines to the best effect, reset creature spawns, fight bosses, spawn bosses. We want to focus more on the strategy element of it rather than the sense that monsters had much higher hit point values and dealt much more damage as part of the run. We weren't looking to recreate
Also im
the AOZ
Grunde,
moment.
sie wollten es halt nicht so schwierig machen, sie wollten halt,
faster, a little bit more approachable for
dass
players with
es,
different
ja,
gear scores effectively when they start getting
dass
and
jeder
build
spielen
power
kann
parity. when they
Und
start
das
getting
am
into
Ende für
space.
Leaderboard halt
Having
drauf
like a
ankommt,
fully
ja,
checked
wie
out
gesagt,
build
diese
is still
Strategie,
very, very
wie gehst du
useful,
durch?
Because it's just gonna allow you to blast a lot faster.
Yeah, and also I'd like just to double down, like the purpose of the gauntlet isn't, it's not meant to be really, really hard to get through at all, where like if you just finish it, that's an accomplishment, right? Like AOZ was more that room, like can you beat it?
Yeah.
And that's not what the gauntlet is. The gauntlet is about how quickly can you beat it, how do you optimize, how do you strategize, how do you change your route?
Genau, komplett
It's
ist
a
halt
different
nicht,
thing that we're testing for players. It's not just about defeating
dass
it
du
at
es
all.
It's about the points.
überhaupt
Yes.
besiegen kannst, sondern
Speaking
halt,
of
wie schnell du es
AOZ,
besiegst,
Porky 7 asks, any
wie du
AOZ
durchkommst,
content coming soon.
wo du lang gehst.
I just really recommend again. Check out. I mean, just
Really look at
like,
that
there's a lot of
stream,
stuff
like, watch
happening
that
in the
stream.
PTR stream. I just really recommend just get a chance to check out that stream. I
Ja,
would
sehr empfehlen nochmal diesen
I'm
Test-Server-Stream.
going to answer this really quickly because Shark Cohen had asked, is the P and PTR public or private? It is public. So it's if you are a PC Battle.net user, you'll be able to actually jump
Genau,
into
und
the
der
PTR.
Testserver
We'll have
ist halt
instructions and
public,
everything
also
of how to do that
jeder
once we, have
am
the
PC
PTR,
über Battle.net kann dran
the
teilnehmen.
stream and everything like that for players.
Sobald
Is
halt
PTR free from Midwest Bob? Yes, it is. Is there an NDA? No,
das
there's not
losgeht.
an NDA. Can you stream it? Of course you can. So yes,
Und man kann den
and we'll have
Testserver
more
streamen.
information on that again with the PTR.
yeah,
I know
I mean,
there's a
it's-
lot of PTR questions.
One point I just want to make really clear, like it is free as long as you are a person who owns Diablo 4 on
Correct.
Battle.net.
Correct.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yes,
Correct.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. It's-
Genau, und
if
Testserver
you're
ist
already
halt
an
kostenlos,
owner of Diablo 4
solange man
Battle,
halt
good
Diablo 4
clarification.
schon besitzt, kann man den halt kostenlos
Fonz
einfach.
asks, Adam, will you be able to see a breakdown of individual score relative to the other people in your party in the Gauntlet? Actually, that's a good question. If you can go to the leaderboard and actually inspect players, because I haven't done that myself on the build, so.
Yeah, right now it's party score. So it's
You
totaling
can see
up
the
the
teams,
value of your
not the
whole team.
individual person.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
There is
And
no
then-
I in team or
so-
party.
I guess my own
Okay,
sub
Frage
questions
war,
that would be
ob
on a solo
halt bei einer
leaderboard,
Gruppe
you can
beim
actually see
Leaderboard,
someone's build if
ob
they
man
have a
halt den
profile
Score von,
private,
ja,
something like that.
einer
Pull
Person
up their character.
Yeah,
aus dieser
you'll be able
Gruppe
to see
sehen kann.
the skills they have
Aber man
equipped
sieht
at the
halt nur
time,
den Score
and
von
you'll
der
be able to see,
kompletten
like, their key
Gruppe.
passive. So
Den
yeah, you can't
gemeinsamen
look at their whole
Score.
skill tree, but
im
like, you can see a
Leaderboard.
lot of information about them.
Awesome.
Because we don't talk about this, but we actually did make some updates to the profile screen. We made some updates at the same time. They'll be showing up in that release.
Imligit says, will the Gauntlet leaderboard be region locked? No, because everyone's playing technically on a global server.
That's right.
When you do play with your friends in your own region, you just tend to connect to them. You tend to connect to people that are playing near you because of obviously latency and stuff like that. So,
That's right.
Okay, Leaderboard ist weltweit, also
does the
nicht
companion
nur
go with you in
Europa
the
jetzt
Gauntlet?
zum Beispiel.
So I think people, I saw this comment a
Yes.
lot, well, especially when Stephen Leviathan was playing through because he was the charge barb. And so a lot of people thought he didn't have a Seneschal construct with him. No, just charge barbs just move really fast. So
He was there.
he most definitely was there. The construct was there and was following him and stuff like that. So
It'll be with
yeah,
you inside
it will
the
be with
Gauntlet.
you inside the Gauntlet.
Genau,
And,
dieses
and just
Season
so
3
that you guys are aware,
Konstrukt wird
Gauntlet
beim
is a feature
Gauntlet
that is
dabei
not
sein.
just Season 3.
Yeah.
It is
Ja,
a
aber hat man
feature
jetzt
that goes
wahrscheinlich eher
beyond
weniger
Season
gesehen, weil
3.
es so
This is
schnell
a
war.
part of Diablo 4 going
Yeah, so
forward.
generally your seasonal powers and things will go into the gauntlet. You'll be able to bring everything to bear that you can.
Yeah, we talked about this quite a bit actually, whether we wanted that to
Yeah.
be the case, and we think it's more fun to allow these things to coexist.
Yeah.
Question from Cody4PF. Why is there minimal mob density in Gauntlet? The barb ran out of density. How am I supposed to play this with my friends? I think players, with Gauntlet is like a different type of like play style. Players will most definitely have. You'll learn the dungeon throughout that week. You'll learn that you can actually take bosses. You don't have to kill that boss right there. You can most definitely bypass it. Maybe even like leash it or bring it with you into other rooms.
You might want to save it because you might want the shrine later in a different way.
Exactly. There are shrines that actually bring back mobs back to life, so you can immediately get an additional score. And so there's a lot of strategy involved with it. So I know a lot of people are going like, hey, there are
Ja,
specific
war jetzt eine
moments
Frage
where
wegen
like,
der
Steven was
Monsterdichte
like, didn't have anyone
in dem Gauntlet.
to kill there. It's mainly because you can actually
Dass das
strategize
so
and
gering
pull
anscheinend
specific
ist.
things and try to figure out exactly what ends up working really well.
Hat auch nochmal
for
der
your
Hinweis,
character,
dass
your
man ja
build,
mit
or how you
bestimmten
wanna
Schreien
actually
halt
maybe
die Monster
use
auch wieder
shrines
zurückholen
to
kann,
benefit exactly
dass man
who
die halt
you
normal
play with.
tötet.
Yeah, we're not looking to make a slow
Entsprechend
paced
auch die Bosse
experience
nochmal macht.
with the Gauntlet, which I think you probably saw. You saw the players getting a chance to check it out earlier. But
Also
we're
man
also not
hat
trying to
genug
maximize
zu tun in
density
der
in the
Zeit,
same way that we would in like Nightmare
wenn man es
Dungeons
richtig
or
macht.
Helltide areas. Players aren't getting loot drops and they're not getting a lot of experience from these creatures. So that really the focus is on the player having an idea of like where they can find packs of mobs and where mobs can be found in general in the space, and navigating the environment carefully in order to like maximize their point gain during that time, and then interacting with these other things along the way. Why are you smiling?
It's just, I have a question from someone in here, but they have the most hilarious username.
I look forward to this.
I'm gonna say it, but it's hilarious.
Just go.
Bob Dole's Blue Pills asks,
Very good, man.
any possibility of getting better cosmetics through gameplay, maybe through Gauntlet, skins on par from the shop, etc. This is actually a active conversation that's been happening a lot, especially based off of community feedback that we've seen regarding
Also
the
die
shop
Frage,
and
ob
stuff.
man
So I will say that we
besser
don't have anything to say
Cosmetics
right now,
bekommt
but we'll have some
durch
more
das
news
Spielen
regarding some
des
items,
Spiels. Nicht, dass man im Shop
related
halt
to the
kaufen
shop
muss.
that we'll be sharing here over the coming weeks and months and stuff that will
Dass man zum Beispiel über Gauntlet Cosmetics
help,
verdienen kann.
with some of this conversation I know that we've been hearing. Sorry, that name was just wow. Al Quadrodia asks,
Killing it over there.
I know, amazing. Adam, perfect. Where can we find new vampiric legendary aspects? This is something we mentioned at the beginning of the stream, and if for people that are just kind of tuning in, vampiric powers are coming back into season 3 a little bit, tuned a little bit differently.
Yeah, some of them.
Yeah, so you'll be able to find them the same way you can find any other legendary in the game. They're just going to be random drops everywhere. None of them, just to clarify, they're not going to be in the dungeons like the Codex of Power. None of them are going in there, but you'll be able to find them just like other legendary, just randomly out in the world. So no different than any of those.
Ja, die Frage, wo man die also die vampirischen Mächte bekommt. Und ja, ganz normale Legendary Drop wird nicht am Drop sein.
There are a lot of really good learnings from Nightmare Vaults and a lot of the content we have in Season 3 that's kind of advising things we're doing with Nightmare Dungeons across the board. While Nightmare Vaults themselves are not immediately returning like in Season 4, for example, they are also something we're going to be continuing to look at and think about for future releases. So, but we're really glad that players have found like some value in them and just how exciting they are and how punchy they are in the reward side.
Nightmare Vaults
So yeah, they're fun.
vielleicht nach Season
They're great
4
disruption to the
wieder.
Nightmare Dungeon loop sometimes too.
Yeah.
Afrojack365 says, do you guys plan on offering an armory to maybe swap builds? And this is something that we've heard a lot over.
We've talked about it before too on stream.
Yeah.
We really like this idea. The systems teams, the UI teams, all like the idea of doing this. There are plans for us to add it somewhere in the future, but we don't have dates to talk about yet. This is something we really like the idea of. We want to make sure that the game is, when we launched the game, we had this idea of like having some sense of like build permanence and things. We thought that was really important. Harkening back to some of the some bits in the past from Diablo 2 and
Das ist die
other
Frage,
games.
ob
But,
man ob es ein System geben wird, dass man halt Bild wechseln kann.
and like play it ourselves. We're finding we really want to be able to embrace a lot more flexibility.
Ja,
You'll see some like steps
die
in that
Idee eigentlich
direction
ganz
also
gut.
in Season 4.
Und
But this is an example of a thing where it's like, well, we do
Gucken da.
in an effort to make sure the players can kind of change the way they want to
Überlegen,
play more
wie sie
easily.
da vorgehen.
This is a feature we'd like to support. We want to do it the right way. So that's these are things we'll continue to be discussing.
Yeah, and this
Sie
is
wollen es
on
halt richtig
top of like
machen.
some of the other feedback that we've seen from players going like, hey, like social features and things like that. I know it's a priority within the team. They're working on things and stuff, and we'll have more info to share here soon on those aspects. I'll end on this. This one's a good one for Mr. Adam Jackson.
Sure.
Because this specifically talks about the Necromancer and some of the changes that are coming. This is from First Time Cheddar. Why would you guys remove damage from Death's Reach's passive? Is that contrary to the no nerfs policy you had mentioned for mid-season updates? Why didn't you just add speed on top of the damage?
Yeah, I would say one, as far as like comparing damage to move speed, I think it's a pretty clear winner that move speed is a better stat and has more power
Eine Änderung, die vorhin
than
angekündigt
damage.
wurde.
I think when we think about necromancers in general, even across the game in general, we undervalued move speed as far as how strong it is. Like we knew it was strong and good, but we didn't realize just how important and like almost one-dimensional move speed. If you have the option to teleport or move faster or get something quickly, that matters more than pretty much every other stat once you get to a point where you can kill things quickly, right? So as far as why didn't we just like add move speed on top of the damage? Generally, when it comes to our passives, we try to keep our passives simply designed of like, this is what the passive does, and it's all themed together and like makes sense in a specific way. So we try not to have a lot of different effects on a single passive, or even ones that are like very disparate that don't really make sense to be together. And I think like moving quickly and having damage to distant enemies doesn't like, you move quickly to close distance, not to stay distant more often than not because you're moving forward through a dungeon. So Yeah, that was just a call that we made. Like, it's something we can very easily
Also er
add
redet darüber,
damage
wie,
back to the Necromancer in a
I
more
think
general way
you
too,
already
which
have
we
in
do.
wie
different ways,
wichtig
yes.
Yeah, you know, we
Movement
add
Speed
damage in a
ist.
bunch of different places. Like, damage is very easy to add, whereas move speed not so
Vor
much.
allem
So we thought
für
that the passive
Necromancer, der halt kein
slot was a
Teleport
really
hat.
good way because we really wanted just a generic passive. The Barbarian, I believe, also has one now that just gives you more move speed, so you can just go through the game better.
Yeah.
So we felt like it was just a better choice for the
Movement
class.
Speed auf jeden
And,
Fall
like, I
sehr
don't
gut
think
für
that
Gauntlet,
too many
dass man
people are
schnell
going to
durchlaufen kann.
damage to distant as much because it's way more niche than something that's just generically strong like move speed. And you know, if Necromancers need damage, we have a million places we can add them back. I'm not too worried about that.
Awesome. And you had mentioned like even like Necromancers are getting because a lot of these mid-season updates themselves are related to minions, and a lot more changes are even coming in Season 4. You had mentioned beforehand as well. So
yeah, I think it's important to maybe address the other part of like, did we see this as kind of going back on our promise to not nerf things? You know, so I think this is why we kind of resist the urge generally in mid-season patches to redesign things completely, because then it's kind of a crapshoot. Like, is it a buff? Is it a nerf? If it's a redesign, and it could be seen poorly. We just feel like in this case, move speed is such a clear win that we were willing to do that. But we're open to the feedback, and you know, if this is too risky to the players and they don't like that, then we're willing to bend on that. I think that's okay. We just felt like this was kind of an open and shut
Und wieder
case.
wollen Sie euer Feedback hören.
Well, thank you guys very much for the
Schreibt euer
insight and the
Feedback.
info on the mid-season update, and of course Gauntlet. Again, thank you again to Macro Bioboy and Anna Cake Live for joining us, and our
Very
three
good.
devs, John, Steven, and Liam, for jumping
Yeah.
in and playing through. Again, Gauntlet is coming out with 1.3.3, which is our mid-season update. That will be hitting next Tuesday. On March 5th, so players will be able to actually jump in, check out Gauntlet.
Dienstag,
We're really looking forward to
5.
seeing the
März,
feedback for the first couple of weeks,
Mid-season update.
and you know, letting us know like, hey, are there any tweaks and stuff like
Ladet
that
runter,
that we're doing? We'll be monitoring
spielt
that
es,
from that end.
habt
Another thing
Spaß.
that we'll be monitoring is the question we asked earlier, that Adam had asked earlier about how people want to see specific updates happen with classes and like and that you guys may have. So like by all means, have those conversations on various community channels. We'll be checking those out. Let us know what you guys actually think. And just a reminder, Diablo 4
Danke
is
für
coming
das
to Game
tolle
Pass
Feedback.
later this later. I almost said later this. It's 2/29. It's a leap year day, by the way. It is not March yet. Bamboozled. But it's coming later in March. It'll be on March 28th. So players will be able to check it out on Game Pass. Diablo 4 will be the first Blizzard title on Game Pass. We're really excited about that. So
Diablo 4,
patch notes tomorrow. See
erster
you guys then.
Blässer-Teil,
Blog post, and there's actually a
der
blog post
im Game Pass
up,
landen
right after
wird.
the stream for the Gauntlet, so make sure to check that out for all the information.
Also
related
Hashtag
to
Werbung,
Gauntlet
holt euch
before
den
next
Game
week.
Pass und
And
spielt
of
Diablo 4.
course, we will be back in a couple weeks to talk about that beefy Campfire Chat.
Jetzt, wo Blizzard zu
related to
Microsoft
PTR
gehört.
and Season 4. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you guys very much. We hope you have a wonderful weekend, and we'll
Und
see
in ein paar
you
Wochen gibt's einen
tomorrow
neuen Campfire
to
Chat.
check out all the patch notes.
Schaltet
So,
ein.
yeah.
Thank you.
Genau, das war Campfire Chat. Es waren auf jeden Fall Leute mit den Leaderboards, mit dem Gauntlet wieder spielen, so ein bisschen Zeit damit verbringen. Ob Leute das jetzt wirklich wöchentlich machen, man weiß es nicht. Auf jeden Fall wird das jetzt erstmal so nicht reichen für, ja, ein gutes Diablo 4. Es braucht schon größere Änderungen wie Season 4, was da hoffentlich kommt. Man wird sehen, was die Zukunft für Diablo 4 bringt. Also, es ist auf jeden Fall nicht schlecht, was jetzt kommt mit dem Mid-Season-Update. Aber es ist nicht genug. Ein Last Epoch hat für mich 4-mal Tiefe. Vor allem was das Skill-System angeht, was die Items angeht, was Crafting angeht. Da muss auf jeden Fall noch einiges passieren in Diablo 4. Aber man muss auch bedenken, Diablo 4 ist für die Casuals gedacht. Für die, die nicht viel spielen. Die jetzt, ja, nicht so viel Zeit damit verbringen, sich damit zu beschäftigen, sondern einfach nur reingehen und zocken wollen. Ist mehr für diese breite Spielerbasis gedacht. Ja, man wird sehen, was Season 4 bringt für größere Änderungen. Ob das vielleicht reicht, damit wieder mehr Spieler spielen und auch entsprechend, ja, dann auch wieder die großen Streamer mehr Diablo 4 spielen. Schreibt doch gerne mal euer Feedback, was ihr davon haltet, was sie heute angekündigt haben. Ob das für euch reicht, ob ihr wieder spielen werdet, mehr spielen werdet. Genau. An der Stelle wollte ich dann jetzt auch Feierabend machen. Vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen und bis zum nächsten Mal. Ciao, ciao.